This is another episode of Jigs and Bigs. It's your boy Bobby Roast Beef. We have a lot of stuff to talk about today. I mean, a whole lot of stuff, actually. New shit has come to light here. There's another new boat in the family. Can we, talk about that a little bit? We're going to hear all about it, by the way. I sent it a bunch this week. Had myself a grand old time. Were environmental police involved? Yes, they were. Find out exactly what went down in our first segment. Guys, we have an amazing guest this week in the beef seat. We got the one and only Charlie Moore joining us. Yeah, TV's own Mad Fisherman. I had the opportunity to talk with Charlie. We'll talk about how all this kind of came to be. And this whole interview was really surprising and very, very cool. I had a great time talking with Charlie, and I think you're really going to enjoy it too. Let's get to it all, guys. Go ahead, grab yourself something delicious to enjoy. Another thing that you're going to want to know, is there still shit in the water? Yes, but now we're a little bit more amazed for other reasons. We got a follow-up to last week's headline segment. You guys don't want to miss out. We got more Jigs and Bigs coming up for you after this right here. Go grab yourself something tasty to enjoy. Michael Bradley says it was hot as fuck on the Hudson this weekend. Brother, I 100% believe that shit because I was on the mighty Connecticut for a good chunk of the week, and I'm pretty sure those water levels were just rising with the amount of freaking sweat dripping off of me. It was ridiculous. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was wild.
Dude.
It was hot. It was warm.
Yeah, it was toasty, man. And, this was something else. I'm not used to this. Usually in the heat, I'm really beating myself up a little bit here.
Yeah.
Being out on the boat, it's a little bit of a different animal. It's just, I found really it's about being prepared.
Yep.
Dan Griffin says the Connecticut River looked like shit. Two things. It always looks like shit. Let's be
It is shit. It's literal shit.
Confirmed.
Yeah.
Confirmed. We confirmed it.
We did. We kind of confirmed what's going on. But no, it did. It was absolutely insane. Water levels were high. We're going to talk all about that. But I know what you guys are here for. You guys love it when we spend fucking
thousands of dollars.
And we did. Again. In fact, Joe trumped me big time when it comes to the amount he dropped recently. Joe, why don't you explain to the fine folks about your nice purchase?
Yeah, so I know I've been teasing a little bit. I finally I ditched the Skeeter, went down to Thayer's Marine down Norwich, Connecticut, which I cannot give them enough thanks. Richie down there, Mario, they were phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was they really did a guy good, but I am the new owner of a 2024 Icon LX21.
It's fucking awesome.
So she's in she's essentially the same color green as my Skeeter was. I kept going down that path.
Oh yeah.
And she's got orange and black accents.
I love the orange, by the way.
Yeah. So
I really do.
I'll be 100% honest. When I look at it, I was like, man, I don't know. I was like, I love it, but I don't know if I should love it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, is it just because it's different? But man, ever since, other than the truck I have now, which is black, I've always been the person that tries to get colors that not everybody has. That's just kind of been my thing. And that's what I did with this. So guys, this boat it's
gorgeous.
It's stupid. The craftsmanship in just the quality in comparison to the Skeeter, it literally makes the Skeeter look like a fucking wet hot fucking trash bag.
I'll tell you, it pops. I just saw your TikTok, and if you're not following American Vet Fishing on TikTok, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Dude, it's a sexy fucking piece of machinery.
But wait till you see it in person, Bobby. The fucking deck is like an aircraft carrier. Really? It's so fucking big. Yeah, so
funny you say that. I saw a dude today in like a blue, purple, and black bass boat. I wasn't close enough to see it, but it looked enormous. Like I was like, is that like a 30-foot fucking bass boat? It seemed like he could run laps on the. I was like, you got to be kidding me! And it's not like the dude seemed like he was like super tiny, you know.
Yeah. So the crazy part about the LX21. So we'll get into the boat, kind of the in kind of the specs I went with. So the LX21 has a 98-inch beam, side to side. Oh my
God.
And it is 21 feet 10 inches long. So my Skeeter was just a hair over 20 feet. So it's huge. And just the cabin is, the cabin is just like, it just feels like you have so much room. I did not get a passenger console this time.
Oh,
I just have single console. In all honesty, I wanted a single console just because you have, as an angler, you have more room if you want to flip your legs over, start tying. I kind of did it for, Meg and the kids or whatever. And I was like, is that something you really want? Because I would have to custom order it. She's like, no. She's like, I can put my legs up. This is awesome. You know what I mean? So we did that. So it's just so. All right, we'll start with the electronics.
Yep.
So for the electronics, what I went with is it came with just a very bare minimum electronics, the way they did it and the way they ordered this boat, because, everyone who comes down, spends that kind of money on a boat, wants exactly what they want.
Exactly.
So I ended up I have 2 Humminbirds on the console, 2 12-inch Humminbirds. I have... So that's just what I have in the console. Like I have I love Humminbird. I have all my mapping, my Lake Master for those.
Yep.
On the bow, I have Live Scope. I have Garmin Live Scope with a 22 SV, 122 SV, touchscreen Garmin. And then I have another 12-inch Humminbird up there because I also grabbed Mega 360, Humminbird Mega 360. So I have that up there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? I mean, I'm spending that much money. Yeah. Why the fuck not? So I have that. They're being powered by 5 Ionic 125 amp hour batteries. I got 5 of them in there.
Well, with those screens, you need the juice to be able to back it up,
Yeah. So, and the cool thing, and now that I've really been getting into the really filming all of my my trips out. This thing has USBs everywhere, Bobby. USB ports everywhere for your cameras.
That's awesome.
Everywhere. I did get the L2 live well system upgrade. So what that is the live well is actually cooled. It has a cooling plate, so I can adjust the temperature in that to keep it down to, closer to the temperature of, the water where the fish came from, if they're in, deeper water, whatever.
Oh, all right.
So so it has a 7-inch touchscreen where I can control everything to include the temperature of the live well, pump out, all that stuff. Other cool thing about the live well, so G-Juice, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this actually automatically pumps the G-Juice into the live well from
like a reservoir tank?
From a reservoir that's in the back of the boat.
Dude, that's pretty slick.
So I can set like a timer or whatever of exactly how much I want in there, broken down into quarter-ounce increments, and how often I want it put in there.
Yeah.
It's wild. It has, dude, there's so much. There's so much like I can't even think of. It has the huge storage in the center, and it has this is like a new thing in the bass boat. Like
it is bougie, but that's how Joe rolls.
Yeah, that's how I roll, man.
It's so,
but it comes with so this was kind of a new thing that Icon kept really hush hush until they released the boat. And I was actually sending videos back and forth with the one and only Wolf of Walmart yesterday afternoon. But so it actually has a sliding system, and I'll show you the video. I'll send you the video, Bobby. So it's fucking huge. So it holds right around 40 3700 boxes. On top of it, also has space for all of your plastics and ever, and it slides back and forth and locks in place.
Oh wow! Okay, so it's a little bit more organized than just like here. I jam all these plastic tackle boxes.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
dude!
wow.
All 4 of my kids could fit inside this box and shut the lid.
It's like a tackle Rolodex.
It's
amazing.
It's fucking awesome. It is an option. They all don't come with that. So that was something that was like, that's that's got to happen. Oh, what else, man? What else? It's dude, there's just it's just the seats are they're actually this material where they don't get hot in the sun, so you don't like burn the back of your legs and shit. Yep,
that would have been nice today.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I have
dying.
burnt I have burnt the shit out of the back of my legs. Like on my when I had my tracker, my Skeeter.
Yep.
Dude, it's just the boat is just stupid. It's stupid. But I did go. This one doesn't have a Yamaha show. This one's got a Merc 250 XS.
Yeah.
So I did go from Yamaha to Merc.
All right, there you go.
So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Have you ka-chowed that first prop yet, though?
I have not ka-chowed the first prop. I'm hoping that I don't ka-chow the props at all.
Yeah, that would be good.
But you know, this boat, it's huge. This is not a speedboat. This is, you know, I'll be lucky if I get 65, 70 out of it. And that's okay. I mean, where I fish around here, all that bullshit, I don't need an 80-mile-an-hour boat.
No, not really.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's what you think I'm going to do 80 miles an hour on Quabog and Brookfield, Mass? No.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so, but yeah, so dude, there's just so much on it. I know I'm forgetting shit.
I gotta know. I know that this boat came at a premium, and there are probably 2 other additional digits that are probably pretty higher up there than the digits on the price tag that I paid on my boat.
Yeah.
Did they include the hat?
So, dude, this is wild. This is Icon is fucking awesome. Have you ever seen like the videos on YouTube when someone buys like a Ferrari or like a Lamborghini and they get these like crazy boxes with all this merch and like these handwritten letters?
Oh yeah,
dude, that's what I got. That's what I got with this.
Really?
Dude, I got a hat, a couple like Yeti fucking Icon cups. I got it's a note from Jacob Wheeler. I've got, oh man, what else did I get in that? It was like some baits, some other shit, some hooks. Really? And I forgot, this was the one I missed. You know what each person who buys an Icon gets?
What's that?
An exact replica scale model of their boat in a display case.
Right. That's fucking cool though.
Yeah.
That's
so I did.
Cool.
So I did get that. So it's up on my mantle right now. I'm going to put it on my desk at work. Dude, I'm going to tell you right. Don't forget where Icon came from. So Icon, they're not a brand new boat company. They were building multi-million-dollar yachts. That's where Icon came from.
Yeah.
It just the quality inside of even like the bilge area, like the batteries, everything like that, how clean it is. It's like that meme now when I look at like I think back to the Skeeter where it's like, brother, ew.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Just seeing the craftsmanship between the two.
For sure.
It's wild, dude. And you know, Thayer's was fucking awesome. Actually, funny story. So I what was this? I picked it up yesterday, the day before, and I bring the Skeeter down there, right? And we're transferring plates like from the trailer, whatever. Yep. I bring the Skeeter down there, cleaned it all out. I come home I'm on my way home, probably like a half hour, you know, it's an hour and a half ride.
Yeah.
And I'm like, something in my brain was like, I never took the plate off the Skeeter. I wonder if they did it, put it on this one.
And they didn't.
I'm like, no, we didn't take. So, dude, I drove an hour and a half from Thayer's back to my house with no plate on the trailer at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing. Oh, really? Okay.
Mine. So I forgot mine at home, and I was like, oh shit.
Nah, fuck it.
Yeah.
And and the other thing is like, so when I was cleaning all my shit out of the Skeeter, there was like weather trailing like my fucking house, dude. Like I was on the edge, so I'm like, fuck, I gotta hurry up and get this done.
Yeah.
I get down there, and as I'm on the way home as well, I'm like, you know, in my mind, I'm like, all right, so how am I gonna set this up? Mm-hmm. And then I realize I never cleaned out the center storage.
Of the Skeeter?
Of the Skeeter.
Oh shit. So what'd you leave in there? Yeah.
All my 3,700 boxes.
Oh.
So I Yeah, dude. So I immediately emailed Richie and he's laughing. I was like, dude, I'll be up there first thing Monday morning. And I was like, he's laughing. He's like, no problem, dude. So so tomorrow morning, first thing, I'm going to run back down there and, pick up my tackle. So
definitely going to need that. Definitely going to need that in that new
definitely going to need that. That's thousands of dollars worth of fucking tackle in there.
Yeah.
But
shit.
But dude, if anyone is looking at a boat or looking to purchase a boat, whether it's new, used, big rig, a big bass boat, smaller rig, or whatever.
Yep.
I know Bobby used Hanks. Hanks is awesome, but if you're trying to get outside of Lund, Thayer's Marine is fucking phenomenal. Go down to Richie. Tell him Joe Brown sent you.
Yep.
They are such solid people. It was great. And so Thayer's Marine. Thank you guys. Thank you. I am absolutely in love with my boat. I have not splashed it yet because here's the reason that I was telling you. I'll be honest. I don't give a fuck if the boat's not registered. I'll go drop it, start to break it in. I'll play stupid. But between that and not having a plate on the trailer, it's like, all right, I should at least, because they still have, so I'm going down to get the plate too. I was like, I should at least have a plate on the fucking trailer. So,
that's true. That's true.
That's
big. What is it? Metal. Zach says in here, he goes, when are we going on the boat?
Well, Zach, you blew us off up at the St. Lawrence River.
That's
going to be back up there October 19th in the Skeeter, or not, I just said in the Skeeter, not in the Skeeter, in the Icon.
In the Icon.
So I'll be back up there that week, pretty much the full week, because I'm going to pre-fish for 3 or 4 days. So
that's fucking awesome, dude. Nice. Yeah, we have some stuff going on in October that we're planning as well. It's going to be pretty out of this world, and this actually does include listeners of the show, folks that enter the scavenger hunt tournament, all that. So everybody can kind of get involved. It's going to be pretty freaking sweet. Let's go through the whole week. Joe, why don't you go ahead and start? You got a good head start.
So I only got out one time because I have an FTG that does. Do we have an FTG other than the one I told you?
Just that one. Yeah. No messages.
Okay, so I won't get into that. So I'm not gonna talk that. But so I went out for one last send with Meg and Draco. We went on the Skeeter for one last time. And dude, the fucking frog bite was stupid.
Was it?
Stupid. Oh, dude, I just kept putting the poles down next to pads, pad fields, and oh my god, dude! Meg was getting she never fished frogs before, so she's fucking getting blow ups. Mm-hmm. I'm getting blow up after blow up. I think the biggest one was just that I pulled in was just a tad over 4 pounds. That was that one I sent you. I was like, last fish on the Skeeter.
That was awesome. It's a good fish to go out on, too. Jesus,
it really is. It really is. So. Yeah, dude. Between that and that was really the only fishing I got done. It was kind of it's kind of been wild at work. We got a lot of shit going on. So between that and I picked up my new dog today.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I did pick up my new dog today. So I went and picked up the boat on Saturday. That whole thing that I told you guys about, and then today we went down to Rhode Island to pick her up. And nice. So it's another German Shepherd like Draco. Her name's Ice, E-I-S. It's a German name.
Oh, okay.
Her and Draco.
I was wondering how
awesome.
you pronounce that. I was like, huh.
Yeah. E-I-S. Yeah, Ice. Just like so, dude, she's phenomenal. She's awesome. Her and Draco get along great.
Like long-haired German Shepherd. Dude. You don't see that often.
Yep.
Yeah, she's cute.
What's wild is I get out of the truck when we get home, and makes no sense. There was way less hair in my truck than when Draco goes in there.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
right?
I was like, what the hell? I was like, this makes no sense. And but yeah, dude, so they're up there kicking it right now. She and why, so a quick backstory of why we grabbed this. She just turned 2. So the breeder that we got Draco from, they're phenomenal people, Lisa and Ed. I fucking love them to death. They're not a big breeder. They only have a couple, a few dogs that they breed. They did maybe do 1, maybe 2 litters a year.
Yeah.
They did bring Ice in. Ice came from a West German line. So she came over here, and she would not mate with any of the males, and she constantly fought with the females.
Oh, really?
The other females that they have, which is that's the first time they've had that issue. And like they were devastated that, they know we have a lot of experience with shepherds. So she reached out to me immediately when she's like, we have to do something here. And so they're awesome. They're great people. Obviously I was like, you guys are welcome anytime to come up here and visit her, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was a big emotional thing for them. And we had met her when we picked up Draco. She was just like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months old at the time. But dude, she's phenomenal. She's so calm and like cool demeanor.
That's awesome.
We'll see what happens tonight when we sleep, when it's bedtime. Draco's been, kind of all up in her business because he's never been around a female dog before. But
of course.
She gives her the business. She gives him the business if she's sick of it, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great. But so kind of a new boat, new dog, wild weekend, and then another trip down to Thayer's tomorrow. So
freaking awesome, man.
We'll see.
That's wild, dude. I have a trip out tomorrow. I'm actually fishing with I don't want to use the term actor, but the guy who plays the role as Chicopee Chet at some of our events. In the past, Jimmy, he and I are going fishing. I'm meeting him at 5:30 in the morning when he gets out of work. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to send it. We're going to send it, dude. We're actually, where we're going? We're going to go to Big Alum.
Where?
We're going to go to Big Alum.
Perfect, dude. You'll catch 1 million fish. They won't be huge, but you'll catch 1 million.
Well, I want to check off some boxes. I'll get into where I was most of this week. It was kind of nuts. So my week was pretty crazy.
Before you get into it, after you just told me where you're going, be careful. You can chow the fuck out of your prop in that. Yeah. Just it's mainly just going out from the boat ramp, so be super careful.
Super, super fucking rocky over there. The good thing is that it's really clear water over there. So that
super clear. Yeah. Super clear.
That helps a lot. I'm basically going to be backing out, and then we're just going to fish all the way around and until we got to come back out.
Perfect.
And I had a little bit of a boat upgrade too. We'll get to that in the week though. So my week was a little bit kind of all over the place and crazy and awesome, to be perfectly honest. So Monday, standard, like very, very typical Monday for me, editing, getting the work week together, all that stuff, did all that, went and worked. And I had a big day going on. I had been texting on Monday with Becca. And a few months ago, Becca, it was at the sportsman, not the sportsman show. It was at the fishing expo in Marlboro. And, Becca and I were talking, and we were talking about video, production. This is before I kind of kicked things into high gear. And she mentioned, she's like, dude, you got to get a drone. You got to get a drone, dude. And I'm like, I'm not ready to make that investment yet, blah, 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 blah. And then she was like, no. She's like, I have a drone that I've used one time, and she's like, it's not my preferred one, and it's just been sitting. She's like, I'll give it to you. You can have it. And I was like, again, I'm not going to mention it or anything like that. I was like, oh yeah, she's just trying to be nice, no big deal. Well, she mentioned it again while we were fishing one time. So I was like, you know what? I was like, Monday, I was like, things are happening with the channel, and that's what it was. It was when I just started. We were out fishing, and I was making some videos and stuff. She's like, I'm telling you, you add some drone footage in there, and you're going to polish a lot of that stuff up, even with that vlog style that you like to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, that's pretty slick. Okay. And I've been kind of wrestling a little bit with production on the boat. I've been I put together actually a video that's going to drop this week, where I kind of explain, like, I've been putting the GoPro on the windshield of the Lund and getting this like wide establishing shot of me casting, but you really can't see what it is that I'm doing. You just see my big back, And I'm like, all right, that's kind of not engaging or anything. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably still going to return back to the hat cam for that. But so Tuesday, I had taken a ride up to see. Did I tell you Becca's a masshole officially now?
Yes. She told us when we had her on the show.
That's right.
Yep.
So I went to go see their new digs, which is just absolutely awesome. And it's kind of crazy because it's not too far from where I had met, I forget the guy who sold me the catchboard, but I picked up a catchboard in this area. I was like, I've been here before. This makes sense. So So I come home with the drone and I'm like, this is freaking cool. You know, I'm charging up batteries, getting things ready. You know, Tuesday, it was pretty badass. It really was. We had made plans that day. There's a lake not too far from where they are. We had made plans to go and do some fishing for Thursday. Leave that as a little bit of a dog year because things take a turn on Thursday.
Oh boy.
So Wednesday, I'm like, I'm going to go out. You know, I want to try to get some footage that's what I've been doing as I'm going out. I'm like, let's put some, you know, obviously check some boxes for the scavenger hunt, but let's try and put something together for a video. And I recorded a bunch of stuff. And this is like the stuff that I went back and I was looking at the footage. I'm like, this sucks. I'm like, I need that first person camera. Like I just do. You know, there's just no real way around it.
Of course.
So I had a bunch of footage, but I went out that day to Congamon Jr. and the quest was, I'm like, I just need a pickerel. I know that there's going to be largemouth around, but you know, I just need a pickerel. That's what I'm looking for. And dude, I didn't get a single pickerel. I got so many dink bass. It was.
I haven't been catching shit for pickerel either.
Yeah,
when I normally do, especially when I'm running like the bladed jig or something. It's weird.
It's unbelievable. So I'm like, okay, no big deal. I'm gonna go and do my thing or whatever, you know, we'll keep fishing. So I start out early and I'm throwing some BFS stuff and I'm just looking to find fish, like find where they're biting. And if I can try to size up, then I'll you know, or if I'm, in this case, it was, I wanted to get away from the bluegill. I sized up just a hair and I started throwing, when the wind kicked up, I started throwing a bladed jig. So I fished a section of Congamon Jr. that I really don't fish a whole lot. And I had really, really good results. Once the wind kind of kicked up, I got a number of largemouth in that, like 11 to 14 inch window like that. These classic nibblers, put a bunch of them on the boat, was really kind of struggling with the trolling motor because again, like no spot lock. So it's been like in the, you know, I'd handle a fish and on Wednesday, I wasn't using the live well as a live well. I've changed that. I was using the live well more as a cooler to keep water and, you know, soda and stuff and all that shit. So
yeah, of course. Yeah.
I go and I'm doing my thing and I'm like, man, I can't wait for this. That was what I did on Monday, by the way. I put in the order to trollingmotorparts.com for the iPilot upgrade on my on my trolling motor. And it did show up this week and I did install it and it's a game changer. Oh my God.
That's awesome.
I'm really looking forward to getting into like a more of a high wind situation, but it's been kind of crazy. So Wednesday I'm out there, I'm doing my thing. I catch a bunch. I lost a giant. There's one of my favorite spots that I like with a submerged weed bed. And I was running a bladed jig over there and this fish, I didn't even feel the bite. It was just like weight. And then the fish was like, it must have been high up in the column because it jumped. As soon as I felt it, the fish jumped and my bladed jig went flying. And I was like, fuck you. Dude, it sucked. So I'm like, all right, whatever. We're going to do what we got to do. It's going to be fine. You know, it's all good. But I was, you know, I probably would have called it a day much earlier. But my oldest daughter wanted to come out on the boat and go for a ride after she got out of work. I was like, okay, this is great. Yeah. So I motor over to the, you know, to the launch and I pick her up and she had her girlfriend with her and I took the two of them around. We did, you know, I am definitely well within the broken in period on that boat.
Sure.
And it's amazing. I'll tell you what, like, you know, they're not big folks. I am a big human being. But like today when I was on my boat, I got up to 30 miles an hour on plane. Like,
hell yeah.
I was like,
dude, it's all about adjusting your trim and shit. Weight, distribution, trim.
Yeah, it's crazy. And that's what it was. I had, you know, I got two passengers sitting behind me and I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. You know, it gets really, really challenging. So they had a good time. In fact, so Chloe does like to fish. Not like extensively or anything like that. And I was like, you want to fish at all? She's like, not right now. And I think it was because Rachel was there. And she's like, I want Rach to fish. And she's like, you know, I haven't fished since I was like 10. So we didn't do any fishing. I just kind of cruised around with them, had some fun, and then brought them back. But I told Chloe, I was like, anytime you want to go out on the boat and fish, because like, dude, she can throw a bait caster. You know, that's
sick. That's
pretty freaking awesome. Yeah. I'm like, that's badass. And like, she's not afraid to hold the fish. Like she's great. And I think that if, like, you know how it is, like when you're in high school and it's not the hobby that your friends are into, so you're not going to sign up and go do this. I think that if I can get her on the boat a few times, she might actually want to do this more regularly, because being on the boat changes everything. It totally changes it. So I drop them back off. I load up the boat. I take off. I go into work that night. Everything's good. Wednesday night, I'm at work. Actually, let me back up. I was leaving the boat launch, and my wife calls me, and she's like, "Hey, did you hear that our youngest has her first date this week?" My youngest is 14.
Boy.
I said,
shit.
Oh, she does now, does she? And she's like, yeah. And I was like,
did you go get the shotgun, Bobby?
She goes, I said, well, tell me about this lad. So my wife is a fucking sleuth. Like, she is like looking up all the information, asking all the, like, all she had to know was like, where's he live? And then immediately from there, dove in and asked everybody we know in that area. We got some feedback. He's an all right kid. He's not like into sports or anything like that. So like some of their kids of our friends, they're, like, they're like, oh, I don't really know him. He doesn't, because they don't have those extracurricular activities or anything like that. I asked now you may have seen this actually on the Jigs and Bigs story. So Wednesday night I'm at work, and my youngest, she texts me and she's like, "Hey Dad, will you be around tomorrow to bring me to the mall at noon?" Again, she hasn't even told me it's a date, She's assuming that Holly had mentioned something. So I'm like, sure thing. I was supposed to fish Thursday with Becca and Lila, and I texted her immediately, and I was like, Becca, I got to reschedule. I'm like, I wish I could do it, but I was like, I got a situation here, and I'm like, I can't let my youngest down, like as far as because my oldest had to work, which kind of works out because she works at the mall. So I felt like there was at least a little bit of supervision nearby if she needed anything. And I was like, I want to be around just in case. And she's like, I totally understand. We'll schedule this another time. I was like, perfect. So I dropped her off for the date. Everything was good. I had a bunch of running around and shit that I had to do. Like I had to chase paychecks and things like that. Like it was kind of a crazy day. And I was getting fired up to go to Fish Oxbow with my dad on Friday. So, fishing plans are canceled for Thursday. I'm like, all right, Pop, let's go ahead and do this. Now, I had gone out, and my goal there was like, can we get on a pike? And I did. Managed to get a pike while I was in there. In an area where I was like, yeah, this is a spot in Oxbow where I have had good intel of like, yep, there's pike in this area. There's a lot of weeds. They like that. It's really good. Now, I'll say something about Oxbow. The water levels are so high. You know those signs that are in there that say either no wake or they're just markers for, speed limit and stuff? Some of them are nearly underwater. Like you can just see the very top. Wow. Dude, it is quick. Shit. It's like April. All that timber that is exposed in the summertime, all underwater. Wow. I fished the shit out of it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I went to Friday. It was great. My dad and I went out. In fact, he went old school and brought some night crawlers with him. And he got cleaned out a couple times, caught a couple of bluegill, good sized bluegill. And I was primarily throwing, like we started fishing some docks. I caught like a 14-inch largemouth or maybe an 11 actually. It was a smaller one. Yeah. Over by that dock. Caught a crappie under there too on a wacky rig. No, on a finesse jig. Yep. One of those Giltech finesse jigs. And I was like, all right, that's sweet. Yep. Have a crappie. This wasn't going to help me at all. And it's a tank crappie. It was a 13-incher. So it's not like that. This little guy was going to do anything for the scavenger hunt. Sure. So I'm like, there's this one section I kind of want to go hit where these pads are normally all exposed, but they're all underwater. So I'm like, I'm thinking bladed jig, and it paid off. I got a bigger largemouth, which I entered into the scavenger hunt, and then I caught a 19 and a quarter, a 19 and a half, I forget, northern. And I'm like, all right, sweet, this is awesome. Now, here's what's interesting. This was the first day I started using the live well as the live well, and here's why. I was catching fish on Wednesday, and I was using that same sort of mentality CPR as I would in the kayak. I'd grab the net, or even if I boat flipped them, I'd pick the net up, put them in the net, put them in the water to hold them. Now I have one hand to do everything.
Right.
It's stupid because I don't have I don't have the roto grips in place and stuff like that I have in the kayak where I can just be like, all right, cool. Now I can manage, or everything's right there. So I'm like, you know what, man? I put 25 pounds of ice in that live well. The first day I went out, wasn't even that hot. Didn't even crack, I think, 85 degrees. And it was water by the morning.
Yeah.
My cooler does better than that. And I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
This is officially a live well. So when we launched on Friday, I popped the plug in the back. I filled it up for the first time. What a difference, dude. Like, just to make managing the fish that much easier, I just take my short Rapala fish grips and almost like a tag, I pop them on there, put them in the live well, and I just leave the grips on there so I don't have to play games getting them out of there. I just grab that, they're done, they go on the board, I release them. It's the fastest, most efficient way to do CPR on a boat that I've ever experienced. It is unbelievable. And my dad's even like, he's like, you're like a surgeon. He's like, you just like you're just like, that fish goes in, you start putting all the stuff together. Get the camera ready, boom, take the picture and done. And then after I caught the pike, I was like, okay, time for some B-roll. I launched the drone and my dad's like, what the hell is that?
Oh, you didn't even warn him, huh?
I didn't even get warning. So there is footage of he and I fishing on the boat, and you can see in the boat, I have an orange Home Depot Homer bucket. So, So my dad's like, hey, I meant to take a bucket. And I was like, okay, I figured it was, I honestly, I kind of thought he'd picked up shiners or something like that. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm not even thinking or anything because I hadn't had the conversation with him about the live well yet. Because now we can throw a bait bucket in there. If he wants to use shiners, he can use them,
Of course. Yeah, of course.
And he's like, no, I just want to have a bucket in case I have to take a piss. I don't trust you on the trolling motor to not throw me overboard. I was like, all right, that's fair. That's a fair assumption. So Friday was the last day that I had the foot pedal control on the trolling motor. And I've been getting actually really, really comfortable with it. I don't love the layout. I know what do you have for a trolling motor in the past? Minn Kota or Motor Guide?
I've had all Minn Kotas.
All Minn Kotas? Okay, so is your pedal
my first
like a rocker pedal?
So my first boat, I had the Pro Drive. So that's the one. What describe the one that you had?
The pedal that I have on the Power Drive was it's like a split main pedal with on the bottom there's a small like half moon. That's the actual like go button.
Yeah. So that's what I had. Now I have the old Trex. It's all electronic. So and it's
different animal.
Yeah,
different animal.
Yeah.
So I have found like I will be like going to hit the trolling motor to go, and like my big ass freaking Crocs will push one of the directional ones, so like it'll just take off one way, and I'm like, all right, that sucks. I got home on Friday. I mean, I was Friday was actually a pretty decent day. We launched. No drama. And this is the thing. This is like, I was like, all right, it's close enough to a weekend. It might be kind of crazy. No, it was great. We launching and loading up, not an issue whatsoever. It was great.
That's good.
The dock over there, I couldn't even use my dock lines because the first segment of that dock is underwater.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was like, you've got to be shitting me. What is going on over here, guys?
Jesus.
So, yeah, I mean, that whole thing is underwater, but it was, launched, no problem. Everything was good. We did, came back to the house, and there was the package from trollingmotorparts.com sitting right there. And I'm like, okay, well, cool. This is awesome. Let's go ahead and get things ready. So I swapped that stuff out immediately. Now, on Saturday, I knew that we were going to have some weather coming in. And I was talking with my buddy Paul, and I said, look, now this is... Saturday was something. I have realized
let's hear about it.
I tolerate a shitty day of fishing much better if it's in the morning than if it's at night. Because I feel like at night you're running out the clock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it's the end of the day, and like it's got to be tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I get there on Friday, or I get there I should say on Saturday. I guess Paul and I got there at like 4:30, maybe 5 o'clock, something like that. Stopped off and filled the cooler, and put a bunch of freaking Diet Cokes in there and some bottled water and everything. And we hit the river, and we go back to that same spot, scene of the crime, where I was like, "Yep, there were fish here yesterday." Now I noticed the water was a little bit higher than it was on Friday because we had gotten a good chunk of rain that came through overnight on Friday night.
Yep.
And I was like, "All right, we'll just kind of see how this goes." So. I go and we send it. We get down back to that area. Cannot buy a bite. I'm like,
post front, dude.
Yeah, dude. It is. It's crazy. So we go and the thing is I was looking at like Weather Underground, and the front didn't seem like it was that bad. Like you get that wave sign, and sometimes it's like it's like it drops and it's really bad. This didn't seem like it was really that bad. So I was like, all right, we'll see what happens. So we get back over, and like as we're going, this is in the back end by like the actual Oxbow Marina. Like this is all the way in the back. And on the way there, you're looking at all these laydowns and all this stuff. And I'm like, this is so fishy. And I was like, don't worry, bud. We're going to fish all this stuff too. So that turned out to be absolute hot garbage. We lip it around, and we're on our way back up. And as we start coming back up, we noticed this boat coming like head on toward us. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like trying to follow the rules, like go the right way.
It was the environmental police.
They wanted to do a safety check.
Okay.
Stopped me for a safety check. Checked my first time ever in all the fishing that I've ever done. And it makes sense that it would be at this launch because of just sheer convenience and the pressure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They wanted to do a safety check. They checked our fishing licenses, everything else. Those guys are really awesome. Thank you. I told them about the show and about the scavenger hunt and stuff, and I appreciate you guys. They were very, very, very helpful as far as like some information. They gave me a whole booklet on like boater safety. Complimented the boat. They're like, that's a pretty freaking sweet setup too. And I was like, well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. So we leave around there, and I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like, this is great. This is awesome. So I had been throwing around. I was throwing a bladed jig. And I was throwing a bladed jig, a buzzbait, and a wacky rig. And Paul was switching up between a bladed jig and primarily throwing like a finesse swim bait. And I was paying attention to see if he ever got bit on that finesse swim bait. Spoiler alert.
He didn't.
So I got I think one tap on that bladed jig, but I was like, I'm going to keep throwing it. We're going to see what happens. We get over to some submerged wood, and I'm throwing around a wacky rig over there, and I get a couple of taps here and there. And I think these might have just been because this water was muddy as hell. It was dirty. Nothing like the main river. I did get out there today, and that shit looked like actual yoo-hoo. Like you could, I've never seen a mud line around us, and you could very clearly see a mud line there. I was like, holy crap.
I noticed that, because I travel over the Connecticut River to and from work.
Yeah.
And I noticed that. Fuck, what day was that? Friday? I was like, holy shit.
It's dirty.
Yeah. So
I get in there, and I'm like, so it's quite possible that these taps or these pecks are just coming from bluegill that are like spawning. There's beds over there. So we'll keep going. We get over to this one area over by the underpasses, and I throw I'm throwing black and blue Senko, man, classic. With somebody had recommended the Gamakatsu wacky hooks. Thank you. Yeah, they're good. They're solid. I like them. Nice gap. So I hook up with a smallie back there, which surprised me.
Whereabouts was the smallie? The river?
In Oxbow.
Interesting.
Yeah. I was like, holy shit.
They're probably all fucked up right now
sure
with
that they're
how high it is. Yeah.
And it's so much cleaner in Oxbow than it is out in the main river.
That's true.
That could be part of it as well. So I'm like,
that says a lot.
So I'm in there, I'm doing my thing, and I get this fish, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, he's like, oh, it's a good one. And I was like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, oh shit, it's pulling drag. I was like, yeah, why don't you grab the net, Paul? So he reels up, grabs the net, goes. He took not just one, not just 2, not just 3, but 4 attempts at netting this fish at the boat. And after attempt 4, I just said, dude, I got to boat flip this fish. And that's when the hook came out. I must have just skin hooked him. And I'm like, motherfucker, dude, I lost my shit. I was like, fuck, slap the fucking rod tip into the water. I was like, motherfucker. It got so quiet on that boat for like 25 minutes. I felt terrible. I really did. But I'm like, holy shit. Maybe that's the series that we're going to fucking do for education is
how to use a net.
Because like my net is like, I've got a big 18-inch hoop on my net.
Yeah.
I was losing my mind.
I'm fucking terrible at getting the net out. I mean, you saw it. I mean, the fucking PB. I went and just fucking goon-handed the thing.
Well, and I'm like, again, like I think it's got to do with being in a kayak for as many years as I have been. Like I look at it as like I have a net, it's right there. I don't even have a place to put the net where it would be stored away. It's on the fucking floor. You know what I mean? Like it's a part of what's going on.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to use the net. And I'm like, I'm like, oh God. So I lost this fish. And I was like, motherfucker. And I said it earlier. I was like, I knew it was a grind. And I was like, I got a feeling we're getting a skunk tonight. I go, and it was the rain in the post front. I'm like, maybe it was just enough to turn them off that much. And when I got that one bite, I was like, oh, we can fucking fix this. This would be great. And I lost that fish. I was like, you motherfucker.
Let's fucking leave.
We fished our way back up to the ramp, loaded up the ramp and everything. There was when we did launch, there was some fuckery that went down. So you know how the ramp is over there where there's kind of a loop and you go around and there's that one area where you could stage before you set up. Now, because I have, I've learned like I've lost a couple of rod sleeves actually, leaving them in the boat. So I put all my rods back in the truck. I park. And I stage there, then I back right in. You know what I mean? Or I'll go around the loop again if I have to. Because I want to be out of everybody's way. I want to be, of course. What's the word I'm looking for? I want to be, I guess, conscious of other people's needs, and
of course.
Just I would say a good boater. And
good neighbor, good boater,
Exactly. And I set everything up. Well, I get there, and there is a van with this utility trailer. They bust out a fucking cooler
on the fucking ramp
and start loading it with ice and waters. And I walk up to this guy and I'm like, hey, you guys dropping in or what's going on? And he's like, oh yeah, we're dropping in. He pulls out these 2 fucking wreck kayaks and puts them on the side. He's like, oh, I guess I can put these over here and then you can use the ramp. And I was like, oh, gee, thanks. So I was like, I said to Paul, I was like, and this might have been like fucking karma and why fishing was so shitty. I was like, all the years I've been fishing in a kayak, I go, if I have the opportunity to get on plane and flip them, it's happening. And I was obviously just fucking nice, joking. Bobby. No, it's not nice. Not nice at all. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. We got back and everybody was gone. I didn't want to push it with like it getting too dark and having to load the boat in the dark. So it was like twilight. It was getting pretty dark. We already knew that the plan was regardless, we were going to go up to the hangar and, basically drown our sorrows in wings and beer, which is exactly what happened.
Of course, you should have.
And I will say this. So we went to the hangar in South Hadley, right? And I go in.
I've been to that one.
I noticed that this building and we have some history. It used to be an old Polish American club, and I used to do blues jams in there, like open mic, blues stuff and everything. And I'd have like a 3-piece. Myself and 2 other guys that would just be the house band and we would just play. Yeah. But what I would do is I'd book national and global touring acts in there. And I would say like, oh yeah, it's a blues jam till 10 p.m. And then from 10 till 12, it was their show, but it was a stacked room full of egos that wanted to come and play fucking music. So I would have the most amazing shows at this place. Now it's a hangar and it's a whole other kind of beast. So we go in there and I notice they have mango cart on tap.
Interesting.
Love Mango Cart. Golden Road.
I don't think I've ever had.
Oh, it's a wheat beer. So it's,
I've never been a huge mango fan ever of anything.
Oh, really? Okay.
Meg loves it. Meg loves mango. She would love that.
It's a fruit beer, but it's not like overly like sweet or anything. It's subtle. It's real easy drinking. So I'm like, oh, they got Mango Cart. I'm like, I'll get one of those. Paul's like, I think I kind of want to get an IPA. What do you recommend? And I was like, dude, you can't go wrong with Fiddlehead. I was like, that's one of my favorite IPAs.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. I think in spring, I'm like, yeah, I want to drink a Fiddlehead. The server fucked up our beers. And I looking at the two of them, I would know, right? But I didn't even think about it. We each start drinking them, and Paul's like, this is an interesting IPA. It's really good. And I take a sip of the Fiddlehead, and I was expecting Mango Cart, and I was like, oh, shit, that's a whole other beast. That's rough. That's rough.
Yeah.
So we ate and everything. Everything was cool. I headed back home to what do you call it? I headed back home to call it a night. In my mind, I'm thinking Sunday I'm going back out. I'm 100% going back out. Metal Jones asked, wait, are you anti-kayak now? No, absolutely not. I'm in the boat to specifically get comfortable using it, to give it a full send when it's time to give it a full send. But when I'm going out just by myself, like the way today was, it'll be a kayak send. It's the only exception is going to be when it's other bodies of water that I won't drop the kayak in, like the Connecticut River. So that's that part of it. So I go and I leave today, not crazy early. There's still kind of a mess, as far as it's the weekend, that launch is kind of crazy. I get out there thinking I'm coming back for like vengeance. Like it's on. I'm catching them. It's about how it went. I lost 3 fish. I had another bigger smallie than the one yesterday. That just fucking came off. These are all they all hit the same thing. It was a black and blue Giltec 3/16 ounce finesse jig with what was it? Oh, a black and blue Tantrum from Riot as the trailer, and it was the only thing I could get them to eat. I threw a black and blue wacky, I threw bladed jigs, I threw spinner. We had wind earlier on, and then it just fucking died, and that's when the heat got really bad. I did go out into the main river. I was like, this water is so high, I'm really not that worried about it. I have been using, like I said, Navionics on my iPad for the for my mapping and stuff, but I was like, this water is so high, I'm really not too worried about it. I'm going to go ahead and just send it and whatever. Everything worked out great. But yeah, there was a spot that I had fished with Alec that I had never known even existed there. And I think without the water level being this high, I don't think I would have gotten into it. In fact, when I got into it, I think you know what I'm talking about too.
I believe so.
In that area, I got in there and there were 3 when I got in, there were 3 pontoon boats tied to each other, just floating in the middle of the spot. 2 other came in as I fished over there. The last fish that I lost, I was like, all right, I'm out. I may have even had a bowfin take a bite or something with teeth. Because,
oh, no shit.
Yeah, I was like, motherfucker. Like, it was it was a grind, man. So I called it, went back, sat at the launch for about 10 minutes watching absolute fuckery happen. I thought there were 2 different groups of people. One guy with like a center console loading that I thought was going to be swift and in and out real quick. And then another group of jabronis with a fucking bayliner. Yeah. No, these groups were together. They were going to party on like Rainbow Beach or some shit like that. And I'm like, they were there for like almost 15 minutes. Like not being able to figure out getting their shit off the fucking ramp.
It's rough. That's rough.
The number of jet skis, like it was just goddamn ridiculous.
Yeah,
absolutely fucking insane. So it was.
Hey, Bobby, you know what?
What's that?
It was no Memorial Day tournament.
You're goddamn right. There was no Memorial Day tournament. It was still better than that. I will say this. So Saturday and Sunday, it was the first day I had gone out with Spot Lock. not just with spot lock, but
that's right. Yeah.
part of the upgrade with the iPilot is that the way this works, the new head goes on and it connects where the foot pedal would connect, which means that the foot pedal connection is no longer there. Now, I still have the foot pedal stored there. So if I had to, like if the remote died or something like that, I could pull out wires and put them back. And then it would be exactly what it was before. So like the options are still there. It's just shit has to happen. I love using this remote. I fucking love it. And it's a cheap one. It's a little tiny one with no screen, nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's got a couple of real simple features that I like a lot. There's a little bunny button where if you hit it twice, it goes immediately to full speed, which is great if you're like, oh, I got hung up or something like that. I can spin the motor around, hit that, and then back right back out real quick. Spot lock is great. It doesn't... Now, granted, we didn't have like crazy wind or anything like that, but even without it, like I can hear it still moving. Like it's rotating and like adjusting little stuff. But my battery, I expected like, oh, I'm going to have dead batteries today. That's why I asked you when I did. I was like, should I drain them all the way or should I charge them? I think I'm going to charge them tonight. I think I'm going to throw them back on just to charge them up so that they're good for tomorrow. It was just...
Let me ask you this, Bobby, about that head. Is it... So what pound thrust is that trolling motor? Did it stay the same thrust? With that motor?
I think so. Yeah, it's 55.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if the thrust went up at all or anything.
No, and it doesn't. Even when it's on high speed, when it's on 10, it feels right about the same. I think the only thing that head does is the iPilot connection. I think that's the only thing that it does. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Okay. Or actually, I say that and the GPS, I think, is in that as well. Because I think the standard power drive doesn't have any of that at all built into it. Okay. It's just some kind of Bluetooth or whatever.
This boat, the Icon, so it's same, Ultrex. This one is the longer shaft Ultrex because this boat's just fucking essentially a yacht.
Oh yeah.
But my last one came with it was a nice remote, didn't have the screen. This one came with all like fucking touch screen and shit on the I've never used the fucking remote, because I have the pedal. I've always been a pedal guy, but it was kind of cool. It's a pretty cool remote.
I will tell you what's crazy is today being on the boat by myself. And I never experienced this before, but you'll do spot lock which is awesome. But if there is a breeze, it'll spin the boat around entirely. The one thing
you have to go upwind. You have to go upwind.
The one thing that I really do kind of like is that I was fishing off the back casting deck, controlling the trolling motor.
That's dope. That's cool.
It's pretty sweet. I was like, oh, I have a better angle to cast over here. And I'm like, all right, cool. And the confidence that I'm building on the boat now of getting up higher on the casting deck is like nothing. I don't even think about it. It's just, it's crazy.
One cool thing about this new boat is having that 360. It talks to my Humminbirds up at the console. Yes. So I can, if I'm just chilling looking for structure, I can operate the fucking trolling motor while I'm just chilling in my seat.
Oh, absolutely.
And watch, check for structure there. So I just thought of that now that you just said that.
There are some features like jog that I might want to look into, and I might consider going Humminbird on the boat. Just so I can choose lines of structure to follow and say, fish this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love my birds, dude. I love them.
I might. I don't know. I'm not married to the idea of anything, but you never know. I mean, just to keep it kind of like nice and packaged neatly, then hey, maybe we'll go that route. But I really like it. I had conversation actually with Scott Wood. He was like, he's like, but I have a remote and a foot pedal. And I was like, it's not the same. It's because this is an upgrade. So it's taking the spot of where that pedal is. It's not designed to have both. Maybe there's a hack, but to be perfectly honest, I don't really think that there is. And I mean, to be perfectly honest, like that pedal is so lackluster compared to the Ultrex pedal that I think that I wouldn't even bother. It's just, I don't think it's necessarily worth it.
If you were able to run the Ultrex pedal, I'd be like, dude, you got to get the Ultrex pedal just to get it. But if you can't, dude, and that remote's working good for you. Yeah. Because I'll be the first one that fucking, that power drive pedal is hot garbage. And especially like if you have clunky shoes on or something like that, you're gonna end up off your fucking boat. But yeah, so no, dude, that's awesome. That's awesome that you've gotten that down with the remote. That's really cool.
Yeah, I freaking love it, man. It's good stuff. So yeah, that was my week. Let me take a quick look at the notes here and make sure that I hit everything. Lost 3 fish. Yeah, drowned sorrows and beer and wings. Yeah, that pretty much covers it, man.
Also, real quick, before we go into the next thing,
yeah,
I do have a headline.
Oh, you do have a headline,
and Mike reminded me here. It's a quick one. Mike Bradley reminded me. It was brought to my attention by Mario down at Thayer's yesterday, and I looked into it. So it's a quick one.
Oh man, I'm reading something here from Wolf of Walmart. Dave says, Bobby, please do a bit where you catch a fish and land it in the boat while sitting and call it Kayak Anglers Be Like. I mean, I could, and I'll tell you what, dude, like, there are some times. What's funny, I really preferred sitting when I was using the foot pedal.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
With that power drive, fuck yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But now, with the remote, I'm kind of like all over the place. Like, this is kind of nice. I do like putting the seat up front because especially when I'm fishing with somebody else, because it gives them more room on the floor as far as being able to effectively use shit. And with there not being a seat on that rear cast, because like I say rear casting deck, that is an inflated term. It is 2 storage bins that are very small. Like, like my heels are just hanging off the over here, and I'm like, I better watch out. If I have one wrong move and I'm falling down. But yeah, dude, that is wild. Well, let's go ahead and let's get right into the headlines. Let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Let's do it. Yeah. All right, so thanks to Mike Bradley for reminding me this one, because I had texted Bobby and I was like, hey man, I really don't have any news this week, but ICAST is coming up, so I'm sure next week's gonna be fucking bananas.
Hell yeah.
But so this was actually brought up to me by Mario down at Thayer's Marine. This is we all know Lake Cayuga, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of one of the stellar lakes that's within driving distance, like reasonable driving distance for us over in New York. So a tournament angler catches record-breaking largemouth while practice fishing in Cayuga. Hey, did you see this, Bobby?
I did hear about that.
So I'm not going to get into all the details and everything, but this bad boy was, I don't want to get it wrong, I believe it was 12 pounds in either 2.5 ounce. Was it 12 pound? Oh, gosh. Now I don't remember. It's not on here. Oh, it was just over 12 pounds and officially weighed at 12.35 pounds.
Holy shit.
That's fucking
huge.
Bananas.
Yep.
So I actually have it here. Let's see if I can, so people can see that haven't seen it yet. I'm going to do the old screen share. Know what I mean?
Oh, I hear you.
And, screen share. Where is it? Oh.
Yeah, I'm going back through these comments here, and I'm seeing Mike Bradley mentioned caught a nice walleye this morning. Been fishing the Hudson well over 40 years, 3rd walleye. You know, I thought one of those fish that came up I had a follow on that finesse jig, and I was like, is that a walleye? No.
So I can't. Maybe. It won't let me bring up the picture for some reason. It's saying Chrome doesn't have permission anymore.
Oh,
but I'll show it to you.
Freaking Chrome! I'm gonna. You know what? I'll look it up here. It's a Cayuga.
If you can look it up, Bobby, because it's not coming very good through my.
Is it a record smallie or a largemouth?
Large. If you just put Cayuga 12-pound bass, a million things are going to come up, because this was just like 3 days ago. Yep.
Oh wow. Okay, let's go ahead. We'll pop this up here. I'm gonna move this tab. Go ahead and keep going, and I'll.
So I'll run through while you're doing that. I'll run through the actual story. So. Jim Brittenbaugh caught this fish while, excuse me, let me start over here. Jim Brittenbaugh caught what will likely become New York's new state record largemouth bass right on Cayuga. So he's a Pennsylvania angler, and he trailered his 21-foot Stratus bass boat, nice boats, 5 hours from his home earlier this week to west central New York's Cayuga Lake. He went there to practice fish on July 11th for a 2-day team bass tournament starting on the 12th. There was no way for him to know that while fishing with his buddy, he'd land what will likely become New York State's record largemouth bass. So he stated, I launched my boat and tried some spots not far from the boat ramp. I was waiting for my good friend and top fisherman, Dave Rourke, who I was going to meet at the lake about 11 a.m. so we could fish together. Fishing alone, Brittenbaugh tried a few spots where he'd caught bass in previous years. He was simply checking spots in order to locate the bass areas for the tournament. He caught and released a 4-pound bass, lost another good fish, and after meeting Rourke at a ramp at 11 a.m., the two anglers ran a 10-mile run to a creek mouth area that Brittenbaugh wanted to check out. Mm-hmm. I knew that in 2014, Greg Hackney had won Cayuga Lake tournament near that creek mouth. We got to the area and started checking it out in 20 feet of water. Using my forward-facing sonar, we eased towards shore and started fishing along deep coontail weed edges in about 8 foot of water. As he moved the boat closer to the creek mouth around noon, he noticed a submerged point and caught a 6-pound bass off it. Very respectable fish. Yeah. About 5 casts later, with a June bug color Senko wacky rigged, I brought the lure over the point, and right at the boat, I felt it hit, and I set the hook. He says it was so close to the boat, I was ready to bring the lure up for another cast before the bite. That's wild.
Yeah.
He said the bass dove deep, trying to bore into the grass, but he kept heavy pressure on his fish as his 7-foot spinning rod doubled over. He was worried that dude, and this is on a spinning rod. I didn't realize that. He was using a 2-aught trocar hook, 20-pound braided line with a 12-pound fluorocarbon leader. That's big line for a spinning reel.
It's a chunky spinning rod leader. Yeah.
Yeah.
I use 8.
I'm right around the same. I think 10.
Although I'm not catching 12-pound fish, I should say.
Also true. Yes. Also true. I kept rod pressure on it and walked with the rod around the bow of the boat and the trolling motor. Then it made a run out from the boat near the surface, and we could see its back. At the end of the run, it rolled on its side, and tail walked at the surface about 15 feet from us. When I saw how big it was, my heart stopped. I thought, oh my God, I don't know if I can get it in the boat. But he kept pressure on the fish, brought it close, and Rourke scooped it up with the net. We were flabbergasted. He said, we'd never seen anything nearly that big. My best bass over there was a 7-pounder my best bass before that was a 7-pounder from a farm pond. We knew it was at least 10. They put the bass in a live well for 5 minutes, then got on their phones to look at the current bass record. It stood at 11 pounds 4 ounce. Wow. So basically a full pound.
Oh yeah.
It was caught in 1987. They weighed the bass on 2 different scales they had in the boat. Both scales showed it is over 12 pounds. Believing that they had a state record bass, they phoned the New York Department of Environmental Conservation and arranged to meet for some personnel at the boat ramp. So 3 DEC staff met them, and they weighed the fish, and it's officially weighed 12.35 pounds. It was 25 inches long. It's not yet officially the state record because the scales they use have to be examined for accuracy, but I mean, even so, the chances of that being a pound off would be a little crazy. So
that's insane.
Yeah. So Cayuga 12-pounder, right? You know, right near us here in Mass. I mean, that's a fucking California, Texas fish, Florida, maybe.
It really is. It's almost a teener, man. That's a big fucking fish.
Yeah.
I did this just in. I did receive this from the Wolf of Walmart, Dave Arkey. He said he fixed it. Let's go ahead and put that up right there on screen. There we go, Dave. Dave, this one's for you.
Oh, that's that's right. That was the updated photo. Yeah, that's
the updated photo. Nice, excellent job, Dave.
Man, that was fast.
It's pretty amazing. I got to tell you.
Yep.
It has been certified as of now. That's what Michael Bradley's telling us. It has been certified.
Perfect.
That's perfect. Awesome. Yeah, that's
there's
huge.
New York State record.
Now let's talk about something everybody can relate to.
Shit.
Let's talk about shit.
Last week we had shared a story about a sizable load that had been dropped into the Connecticut River from my city of residence, Holyoke, Massachusetts. And everybody was up in arms and stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and we had a conversation that followed the release of the show on Tuesday with Alec Plotnikevich, a local angler who pays attention to this kind of stuff, listens to everything. He writes to us and he says, hey guys, listen to the headlines from this week's episode. A little more insight into the shit dumping. It actually happens way more often than it ever gets reported. Must have been a slow news day for 22. Certain towns are better than others. He goes, the worst offender is Springfield. Bondi's Island dumps almost any time it rains. And believe it or not, 700,000 gallons is on the smaller side for these releases. Usually it's in the millions of gallons. Most I remember ever seeing was 5 million at one time. These plants, they do get fined when they do this by the EPA, but in my understanding, it's that the fines are just so small in the amount that it's actually more cost effective for them to just dump the untreated shit and then have it than to go through the actual cleaning process and the laws to allow them to do it as long as they just pay their fines. He goes, it's ridiculous that it's allowed, and then people have been trying to raise awareness to it locally, which is maybe why 22 ran a story on recent release. And he goes, there is a website somewhere that logs all of these releases because they're required to make it public knowledge. He did share the link. And I'm going to go ahead and actually share the links for this so you guys can check it out specifically. They do list this, and it's like, holy shit.
Literally.
Yeah. he goes, yeah, it's disgusting. It's way worse in the spring and late fall. They try to limit to how much they do it in the summer because they know how much recreation goes in on the lake and they don't want the backlash from it, which I guess that's probably another reason why the news sources cover it is because they know that much. That's insane, dude. That is just absolutely bananas.
It's so funny because like I have a couple friends. I have a couple friends that, have pontoons that they slip on Connecticut all year round. They rent the slip or whatever, and they tell me like, oh, another, river day, and they're out there swimming, fucking around, and I'm just like, I'm like, I couldn't do it. I'm not sorry. At least I might touch the Connecticut River above the fucking above the dam,
north of the dam. Yeah. Up that high, yeah. That's
all that high.
I thought you were talking above the 116 dam, and I'm like, oh, for sure. And most people are. Very few people are recreating south of the dam. I mean, that's where.
It's. But still. Exactly. But I mean, bathe in your own shit, whatever. I mean, do your thing. Thanks, Massachusetts.
And it really. It's unfortunate.
We have stellar roads.
Yeah, they're fantastic, aren't they?
Oh my fucking god, dude!
Telling you, I think it's kind of crazy that that's just the way that they do business. What do you call it? The fines are so low that they're just like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and go for it. Somebody had commented in there. They're just like, it's like it's still treated like it's not like it's straight up like raw sewage that's being dumped. They're like, and I'm like, I guess like that's one way to polish a turd. If you're gonna do it,
literally a polished turd.
Yeah, but I'm like, it's still, it's just like you're not supposed to flush certain things, and it would be wonderful if everything that was pouring out of that was just organic matter that could be broken down. But it's not. That's the problem. Like when I was in the main river today, you know how many fucking like not glass bottles, like nip bottles, plastic nip bottles I saw floating.
1,000.
Dude, it is ridiculous. I swear, people would think that the Connecticut River flows free of like Yoo-hoo and fucking Fireball because they're just everywhere. I was like, you got to be shitting me. And the current was just ripping so bad that I couldn't get the net out to fucking. And I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. My favorite like trash or like whatever story was I was on Lake Quinsigamon. I was on Lake Quinsigamond, and I found this little like inlet outlet type thing, and I'm going flipping some fucking trees or whatever. I look down, dude, and there's needles, couple needles floating by. I'm like, all right, let's get out of here. And like use needles. I was like,
part of it is it's like I'm not saying that comes from the sewage treatment plants necessarily. The reality is that could come from fucking parking lots and rain and all that shit.
Of course.
That's where it ends, and it's just it's fucking disgusting. It's like, come on, guys, like. Our bodies are 70% water or something ridiculous like that. Like, come on. We should be taking care of like our waterways a little bit better than that.
100%.
I do love the jighead comments right as here. St. Nick goes, hey, what did I miss, guys? Just getting up. Wolf of Walmart says, somebody pooped in Massachusetts water. And then St. Nick comments, he goes, treated sewage is still clumpy and brown and stinky. It is. Yes, it is. Absolutely. Then Jay Manning says the design standards are such that there's just no 5 million on tank to put it when it rains, so that they have to reroute all the sewer drains and city into the river or totally upgrade the system. Oh, I get it, man. I get it. It's like, what the fuck do you do? You know, it's fucking Wolf Walmart says, don't they put that in Celsius drinks? I think they do. According to my wife, I am more full of shit than that water. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
Oh, Dave. Always gives us a good chuckle.
It is kind of nice that we have like such dedicated listeners that can give us some information like that. So thank you, Alec. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks, Alec.
I am going to put in the show notes, I'm going to put the link to that website so that if you want to look at the numbers and the frequency of which like the city of Springfield dumps literal sewage into the Connecticut River, you can go ahead and contact somebody and go like,
hey, what are we going to do about this? This is fucking straight
what's up with this?
Coming out of the water.
You know, freaking love it, man. I freaking love it. That is nasty. You know what? I don't even know that we talked about if we have a Just the Tip this week. Or not. I
don't have just the tip or the gear. I've been so amped up about my FTG.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Well, you know what we'll do? Let's do this. We're gonna make segment 2 a nice short one, and we're gonna do our FTG, guys. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back. We got our FTG, and then we got TV's very own Mad Fisherman, the one and only Charlie Moore, joining us. And I gotta tell you guys, big shout out to Jay Manning, one of our jig heads, just for like setting the wheels in motion. Like he was mentioning us in the comments and stuff, and then this kind of happened. And I'll tell you what, I had a really, really interesting conversation with Charlie. I didn't realize some very specific things that his career has kind of covered that really kind of surprised me. We talk a lot about fishing and his preferences for the way he likes to fish. And I love that he's very straight up, and he's like, when we're on the show, we're not trying to catch 5-pounders, get these guys on these big fish. We just need fish. They got to be TV fish, and I like that. I respect that. Very, very cool. It's a great interview. We will after all that stuff, we'll see you guys on the back end. All right, don't go too far. More Jigs and Bigs coming up right after this. Jigs and Bigs wants to take a moment to say thank you to our partners for helping us continue to push the limits of our fishing adventures and bring you amazing long-form podcast content. We need to thank Dark Horse Tackle, Omnia Fishing, A-Bay Lure, The Bay House, and The Ship Motel. We can't forget about Three Bells Outfitters, Torres Sunglasses, and of course, Reaction Tackle. Be sure to check the description of this podcast for any associated affiliate links or promo codes they've generously provided our listening audience. Again, we cannot thank our partners enough for their support. Please consider supporting them and supporting the show in the same process. Thanks. Hey, you. Yeah, you. the one with the impeccable taste in fishing podcasts. Bobby Roast Beef here with a little call to action for all Jigs and Bigs listeners. We're opening up our hotline to you. Now you can call us to sound off about almost anything at 413-324-8519. Want to submit someone for our FTG segment? Call us at 413-324-8519. Care to maybe suggest a topic for Just the Tip or Bait of the Week? Call us at 413-324-8519. Maybe you just want to give us or anyone else a little shout out on the show, or you want to suggest a guest for the beef seat. You guessed it. Call us at 413-324-8519. The Jigs and Bigs hotline is there for you to leave a message with us 24/7. Just call 413-324-8519. Also, you can check that number in the notes of this podcast. I fucking love this segment. What do you got for us, Joe?
I feel so honored to be doing the FTG right now because I think the last time I did an FTG was that time that I was in the kayaks with Wild Bill and he lost his PB.
9-pound PB, I believe.
Yeah. It was either 9. Actually, I think it was 12:45. It was just above that 12:35.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's my FTG, guys. I actually had a fishing related FTG.
It's my favorite.
So I'm on the last day I took out the Skeeter. I have my wife with me. I have my dog Draco. It's evening. It's like we didn't go even hit the water till like 5:45, 6 o'clock. Just want to go out for an hour or two. I want to go hit the frogs, hit the lily pads, do some top water. And got a couple beers. We get over to a spot. I anchor down. We're there for a while. I had caught a nice one. And then, where I was, adjacent to where I was on the shoreline, there was some woods. And I'm very familiar with this area. Yep. And I don't know how the hell this happened or where this came from, but a gentleman comes out. And granted, let me back up. We are only about maybe 30 feet from shore, not even. Oh, okay. This wasn't a huge pad. I was essentially launching this thing right to shore and then bringing it across the entire lily pad field. So a gentleman comes out of the woods, out of nowhere. I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, that's strange. And he has his dog and he gives me a wave. I'm like, oh, hey. I'm like, hey, I give a wave back.
Yeah, of course.
And he proceeds to grab the nearest stick and start throwing it right out into the lily pads that I'm fishing for his dog to fetch. And I just look over at Meg, my wife, and I go, is this fucking real life right now? And she looks at me and she goes, just chill out. We're having a good time. He's having a good time. We can move over. And I'm like, we were here first. Like, exactly. She's like, I was like, he probably doesn't fish. He probably doesn't get it why we're here, what we're doing. I'm like, what the fuck else are we doing? We're here fishing, like right next to the lily pads. Like, well, what the fuck else could we be? I have a rod in my hand. It's like, you have a rod in your hand. Like, we're obviously fishing. This area. The boat is literally pointed right there. And so he proceeds to and I didn't say, she's like, don't say anything. Let's just move to a different spot. So I didn't. I kept my cool. Even though I wanted to throw on a 1 ounce lead weight onto a 5/0 hook and start tossing it out there. But the only reason why I did it is it's not the dog's fault and I don't want to hit the dog.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I love dogs.
That's true.
So this fucking asshole is just tossing it out there. So I move over probably 40, 50 yards and he kind of like starts to move over that area with the dog and like still kind of fucking thrown out, not so near us, but still in the general vicinity. Like he moved when we moved. And guess how many fucking bites I got after that, Bobby, in that area?
Absolutely zero.
Absolutely fucking zero.
Fucking idiot.
So I had to put the things up. I put the big motor on and just put it over to a whole different pad or a set of pads.
Yeah.
And the whole, like for fucking 20 minutes, I was like, man, can you fucking believe that guy? Could you believe that? Like, she's like, will you just relax? Like, we're having a good time. Like, I was like amped up by it. And I was like, that's the FTG. I was like, I haven't done FTG forever. I finally have an FTG. And here we are.
Isn't that
so that
feeling,
guy,
that feeling when you're like, I have a fishing related FTG. Like, doesn't that feel great?
Yeah, dude. I literally texted you. I was like, you're not going to believe this. I have a fucking fishing FTG. And yeah, so fuck to that guy. Like, man, fuck you, man.
That's the worst, dude. And
I just couldn't believe it.
It's harder for like us because we are dog people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's like you're just like, I love that you're bringing out man's best friend to have a good time at the water, and you're spending time with your dog, but at the same time,
you're a moron.
Yeah. You know the weirdest part about the entire thing is if he just went like 50 yards to his right, there was open water without a fucking, I mean, these were dense lily pads, Bob. And he's just like, this looks like a good spot to have him go fish or have him go swim.
Yeah.
And he could just went to that fucking open water 50 feet to the left or to his right. And
dog would have had more fun. You know what I mean?
I still wanted to pet the dog, but that's
what kind of dog was it?
It was a chocolate lab.
Oh, nice. I used to have a lab.
Yeah, so big goofy lab. I was like, cool dog. I was like, your owner's an asshole.
Yeah.
So
freaking idiots.
that's my FTG finally. So probably another 2 years till I have another one. But
dude,
there's mine.
That's shitty. Like I hate that for you. I hate that you had to fucking do it.
I was
like
so mad.
I don't even know. I don't even know what to fucking say. Jesus.
Yep. The dog's name is Game Warden.
The dog's name is Game. Oh, that's awesome. That's a direct attempt to ruin your day. That's awesome. I'm going to name my next dog the Game Warden.
Dan says, stay out of my spots. Dan, they're not your spots if I showed you them first.
Oh.
Spicy.
I was not in the river, Dan. You like the river. I was not in the river.
Man, that is freaking bananas, dude. That shit blows though. When there's people that are just so clueless. Clueless. My favorite today was like I had spot lock on and there was this lay down that was just water soaked way up in it, and I was like, oh, this is going to be so good. And yes, it was in the main channel of traffic for all the boats. I get that. But like with the water levels so high, there was a lot more freedom of where you could be in there. You know what I mean? And I had multiple pontoon boat captains, and I use that term frighteningly lightly.
Oh, I love that.
Multiple ones come by.
They think they're captains.
Yeah, and what they'll do is they'll putt right by you until they're up by you, and then they stop to talk to you. You catching anything? You catching any fish? Yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm kind of struggling here. It's all good, but hey, whatever. I say whatever I need to say to get them to move on, and then for whatever reason, they're just like, okay, cool. Let's catch up to where we would have been, full throttle. So then I'm like, you guys just suck. You guys just suck. Pontoon boat camp captain. What do we got?
I'm gonna give you the easiest way to get people to keep on going. When that happens,
what's that?
Pretend you're deaf and start going like this. Watch how fast they keep going.
Oh God, that's fucking hilarious.
Watch how fast they keep going.
I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna put a camera in that direction.
Yes.
I'm gonna do it. Oh my God. That's so fucking funny. Oh, something that happened fucking last night. So when I'm out fishing with Paul, you guys don't understand. Paul is such a good friend of mine. I wouldn't fish with anybody else that farts as much as he does when we're out fishing. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, I don't care who it is. Like, the man, I don't know what it is. And I cut him some slack. You know,
sure.
I can remember when he was in the throes of chemotherapy with pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
He was like, dude, the chemo farts are bad. And I'm like,
bro, I've known you for like 30 years and they're all bad. They're all terrible.
This guy, and I got him this time. We're way in the back by the marina, and I'm just like, you know, quietly moving along, getting back to another spot, and he lets one fucking rip. And before the cloud could even hit me, full throttle on plane, we're just like going. And he's like, what was that for? I was like, I had to dodge it, man. I had to dodge it. It was not going to take me out. God damn it. God damn it.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Sorry, Paul. I didn't mean to blow up your spot. Fucking. It's true, dude. I love it, man. All right, guys. It's time. Let's go ahead. We'll get right to it. We got the one and only Charlie Moore in this next segment right here. We'll see you guys on the back end. We'll wrap this show up nicely. Hey guys, Bobby Roast Beef here from Jigs and Bigs. You know, if there's one thing I can't stand spending money on, it's on something that's not versatile, something that I can't get a lot of use out of. I want to talk to you about Frost Buddy. What Frost Buddy is it's one of those can coolers. I've seen these before. In fact, I have some that are limited to only fitting one specific size of can, like a standard 12-ounce can. I stumbled onto Frost Buddy, and I was blown away with it. So versatile. Fits standard cans, tall cans, slim cans, and even 12-ounce bottles. And the magic is the insert fits all of these items in various stages within the insert. And when you take that out, you can fit a full 16-ounce tall boy can. In fact, it even doubles down on being versatile with the coffee lid. And on my recent trip to Chickamauga, I had a field day with this thing. I was throwing beer cans in it. I'd have coffee in the morning. On the drive, I was throwing in all different sizes of cans for different canned coffee products to keep me awake on the long drive back. The thing was amazing. So I recommend you check out Frost Buddy. If you're in the market for either a travel cup for your coffee or a can cooler at all, either one of those, check it out. For the money, you cannot go wrong. What I've done is this. In the show notes for this podcast you're listening to right now, if you look there, you'll find a link to Frost Buddy where you can get yours. And not only can you go and get your Frost Buddy there, but you can help out the show as well. Go and visit that link in the show notes to this podcast. Check out a Frost Buddy. Tons of colors, tons of patterns, all kinds of great stuff. And it's a great spot to put your Jigs and Big sticker too. Take it from me, Bobby Roast Beef. You're going to get the most versatility out of this one product, probably out of anything you're ever going to buy, especially for anything that you're drinking. Frost Buddy. It works for me. I'm a happy guy. Everybody, welcome back. Bobby Roast Beef here from Jigs and Bigs, and we have another amazing interview segment this week. You know, this show was built on exactly what this is all about, talking with other anglers. A little inside information. When Jigs and Bigs first launched and I started to get back into work during that first year, 2020, I had a lot of people reach out to me and say, you know who you have to get on your show? You've got to get Charlie Moore on your show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, holy shit, guess who we have on today? The one and only Charlie Moore, the Mad Fisherman himself. How you doing, Charlie? How's things?
Bobby, thanks for having me on. Yeah, things are great. I appreciate to finally make the connection. I know we've been trying for a while, but very, very happy to get the nod here and get to the mound and throw some pitches here on your show. So I'm excited about it.
Hell yeah, man. This is really good. Actually, I'm glad you used a sports reference early on. I'm going to full disclosure, Bobby Roast Beef, not a sports guy, but I do want to get your take specifically on some sports related stuff in terms of the way that it works with fishing. This is a fishing podcast, but we cast with a wide net. So we kind of cover a lot of stuff. And I know travel and I know food, all that stuff is in your wheelhouse. We're going to have a great time. This is going to be a lot of fun. So let's go ahead. We'll start at the beginning with the outdoors. I'm a sucker for an origin story. Tell me your story. Like, how did you discover the outdoors? Who brought you to it? And how did we end up to the point now where you're on Nesson on a boat with guests routinely? How do we get from one place to another?
I don't know. It's great because everybody has a story, they say, right? Obviously, it's true. But, hey, born and raised in Lynnfield, Massachusetts, youngest of 5, 4 boys and a girl, my sister. Grew up always enjoying sports. I mean, I was big into sports as a kid. The whole family was. But I really loved the outdoors too, as well. So, but there's a multitude of different reasons why I'm where I'm at now. Most of it's personality, obviously. So I think it's very personality driven. When I was a kid, everybody knew that I'd be on TV or be in movies or something like that. So I just really feel like that was my direction. Met my wife at a CVS in Beverly, Mass when she was like 16 and I was 17, and we had kids young, and so make the long story short, I just really try to develop your way in life. I didn't have a college degree, don't have a college degree still, didn't know anyone in TV, didn't know anyone in the industry, as they say, never took an acting lesson or, editing lesson or anything to do with TV. My family literally had no connections at all. And I just cold called Nesson one day and kept on pounding the pavement because I really wanted to do. It never really was a fishing show. I wasn't going on TV to do a fishing show, and I never did a fishing show. You know, I mean, so when I went in and finally got an interview with Nesson, and I did after about a year and a half of just peltering the crap out of them, they said to us, "Listen, we want you to go in the locker room, and you're a pretty unique individual. Your personality is pretty out there." And I said, what if work with me here? Stop playing the whole Gene Wilder. Work with me here.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I said, let me take these guys on my boat and just like do a quick interview rather than the locker room. Everyone sees them in the locker room. Everyone sees them after the game. Yeah. Everyone sees them pregame. That's nothing new. Yeah. So they said, and I started taking out the guests for a 4-minute piece, 3-minute piece on Front Row. It's called Front Row with Charlie Moore. It was like the chronicle of like sports on Nesson. And, since then it went from Front Row got canceled and Charlie Moore Outdoors was picked up. And then Charlie Moore Outdoors spawned into Beat Charlie Moore on ESPN, which is the #1 show on ESPN for 10 years.
No kidding. That's nuts.
And that went from ESPN, went to NBC, and then NBC, no offense, was the #1 show. And then I sparked my sitcom called Mad Fish, and I went to LA and shot my sitcom and didn't like the people out there, didn't like the deal, and sold my sitcom to Tim Allen, and he bought my sitcom. It was called Last Man Standing, was about my life.
Oh, no kidding.
So, yep, he's an outdoor man. He's a guy's guy. He runs a outdoor kind of Bass Pro Shop.
Yep, yeah.
So, and then I got back home and started doing the Bruins shows Behind the Bee with Dennis Leary and Bruins Academy. And then, now my son, I'm doing his show called Travel More with Anthony Moore. And we got New England Traveler. We provide more content for the Nesson Network than any other provider. So, and I'm bored, so I need something to do.
No. I hear you, man. It's like you got to have your hand in some kind of a project at all times. I totally get that. And it's amazing, man. We're having this conversation now. You're talking about this one young kid from Massachusetts, and now what do you have? 17 Emmys sitting behind you in that on that display case, man. I mean, like, dude, that's wild. That's absolutely insane. Let's get into the real meat of it here. Like, I mean, we talk fishing here. That's what we're all kind of about. You've done a lot. Obviously, like I've caught your show a lot while I'm out hosting like trivia. Like I do a lot of events in sports bars and stuff, and I'll see it and I'm like, oh no shit. And I'm stoked to see fishing on television anytime that I can. I think I've got a background in broadcast TV, and I do realize that broadcast television is a dying medium. Like, I'm just going to call it out like it is. We've got to evolve, and you're doing that. Like, you've got your app, you've got ways to integrate into the newer technology. There's obviously streaming and stuff that's going on. But when I see you up there, I'm just stoked to see a fishing boat or a couple of rods and reels on television. For as big as the outdoors community is, and fishing specifically, I think it's really a great thing that we get that sort of stage once in a while. So I've seen your stuff before. Most of the time that I've seen your stuff, you're fishing for bass primarily. What's your short list of favorite species that you like to target the most?
Man, I just gotta be honest with you. I mean, anything that really hits the line. I mean, when you're looking at it from point of view, of you're doing a TV show and you have a celebrity guest or you're just going out, the ocean really fishes small. You know, anyone who knows fishing knows that the ocean really doesn't have a lot of, you got the canyon, you got the rip over here, you got the rip over there. The ocean's huge, A lot of the guys would like to prefer to go on the lake. They're not boat people. They don't want to be way out on the ocean. It's easy. The ocean gets rough. It looks the same. There's no backdrop. When you're on the water, you go to Boston Harbor, and when you're out, you have seagulls and you have maybe occasional, a
lighthouse or something.
Whatever. But when you're on the lake, it's a little bit more of a set. It's a little bit more of a good looking set. It's a little chiller. It's a little easier managed. But I grew up striper fishing. I grew up fishing for bluefish as a kid and striper fishing, and flounder and haddock and cod and. I've been doing a lot more. I know you haven't seen the shows recently. Not because they've not been edited, but the last year we've done 4 or 5 striper shows and around the country, and they have not aired yet. But I've made a vow to myself to just get it a little more back to some of the things and mix it up a little bit more, and just and be a little different. And I want to, if you don't mind, I want to bring up something that I think is super important.
What's up?
And I want the listeners and the viewers and listeners to know. You talk about something that's so openly acceptable now, and it's so minor. It seems so minor, but I really want to address it because it's anything but. And for people who don't know me or my story, when you say stuff to me, we talk about fishing and we talk about what kind of fish we like, but we also we cast a wide net. Well, when I was on TV in 1995, everybody looked at me as the Antichrist of fishing. I was Jesus Christ, the Antichrist with a fishing pole. Yep. I was the guy swearing, breaking my rod, throwing my tackle box in the water, screaming at the guy on the dock who wouldn't let me fish it.
For sure. Yeah.
And then I would travel on the show and I would show food and until I got on TV, everything in every fishing show started on the boat and ended on the boat. Yeah. They didn't do any travel. They didn't do anything. Yep. But when I went on ESPN, if you want to talk about the explosion when I was eating chicken wings and having a chicken wing contest with, LeBron James or, the Truth and I were playing basketball on my sport court, and then we would, he's trying to beat me, I'm trying to beat Paul Pierce at my, basketball. These are all things that evolved because, and a lot of people that were in the fishing community, didn't like it. The people who are, it's kind of like baseball. People just want the traditional game of baseball. Other people want to speed it up. They want more home runs, But I really did the first 3 episodes of Beat Charlie Moore. ESPN sent my first 3 episode reels to every TV network that they've associated with in the country and said, this is the future of ESPN programming. And it was my 3 episodes of Beat Charlie Moore. And I just want to say it's a breath of fresh air because when I was doing it for 10 years, you should see the emails. You suck. You're ruining the sport. You're from the North. You're not from the South. I mean, all of these and ESPN loved it. They were like, this kid is like Howard Stern. He's like Howard Stern. He's getting the people who hate him love him more than the people who love him.
That's the thing. There is no such thing as bad publicity, man. It's the truth. I'll tell you, that's part of the reason why this show is so unique among a lot of other ones, because we don't have a filter, or I should say we have an extremely frighteningly thin filter as far as what flies on the show. There's certain things that we just stay away from because we just don't want to create an argument necessarily. Yeah. But when it is specifically in terms of fishing, it's wide open. We talk about it all. It's so funny.
But when you go fishing, though, Bobby, you stop and get something to eat. You visit maybe something with your, it's an experience. It's a travel log. And so that's what I started to do. I started to really just, really kind of just take the whole adventure and make it a show. I never wanted to do a fishing show. I wanted to do a show about a guy from Boston who was like every other guy from Boston, completely and utterly insane, who thinks he's always right, by the way.
Of course.
You ever meet anyone from Boston who's wrong?
No. Yeah, they'll never admit it. They will never admit it.
No, I'm not going to admit it.
No way. Die on that cross.
Yeah, and I like to fish. It's about a guy who likes to. I don't really teach people how to fish. But I know how to fish very well, but everyone does things different. I fished with some of the best bass fishermen in the country. They know I'm very talented at what I do, but that's not the focal point of my show. But when I fish with them, Joel St. Germain from Rhode Island, 3-time Bassmaster Classic qualifier, one of my closest friends for 25 years. He fishes completely different than me. Completely.
Yeah. And it's funny, man. I've been saying this. This is the statement that I'll shout from the mountaintop forever. The thing I love about fishing, and this I find completely true, is that fishing is the only sport, hobby, activity, however you want to quantify it, that is equally 1 part science to 1 part art. And you have one that's very rigid with the biology, the ecosystem, everything else that you're dealing with. But then you have art that's an interpretation of that. And like when it comes to rigging and bait selection and different techniques and variables.
You're an athlete.
Yeah.
You're a friggin' athlete. You're a machine.
Absolutely.
Go in the water for 9 hours on Lake Champlain and take a beating for 3 days and come talk to me about your $10 a month of Planet Fitness my ass.
Exactly. It's unbelievable. It's unfreaking believable.
The heat wave we've been having, one episode, I lost 12 pounds in 2 days in one episode. I lost 12. I was melting like the Wicked Witch of the West.
It's absolutely brutal, man. It's absolutely brutal. But it's funny, like you bring up like the stuff that goes along with being on the water. I like to throw this around all the time. We like to talk about on this show the whole angler. So like myself, I'll back up a little bit to my first co-host that we had, Sean the Fisherman. This guy was a kayak tournament angler, and when he hit the water, he was on a mission. And one of our sponsors at Three Bells Outfitters, Lauren, had coined it best. She goes, when Sean's on the water, he's on a mission. He has a separate set of needs. Bobby, when you're on the water, you're on a journey. It's a different kind of animal for you. And there are a huge mix of those folks all together when it comes to fishing. Now here we are with Who the Fuck is Joe Brown, who is also a tournament angler, but from the big boat world. And I just recently bought a boat. I went and I bought a 16-foot deep V. Bought a brand new Lund because the type of fishing I do is a lot more like casting a wider net. That's exactly it. If I'm going to go and troll, I'd like to be able to go and try that. If I'm going to go and do this, and we're all about that kind of stuff. Let's talk techniques now. Because like you've done some saltwater stuff, you fish freshwater stuff. Are there any specific techniques that are just your bread and butter? Like, are you big into flipping jigs, or are you a topwater guy? Like, what's your short list look like?
I always tell people when I do seminars, I do a lot of motivational speaking with big corporations, and a lot of the obviously people there are fisherwomen and fishermen, and they always have a specific couple of questions outside of their job related and motivational course I'm giving them. But I always tell them this. This is what I believe, and again, it's my opinion. So if I'm wrong, it doesn't mean I'm right. I could be way wrong.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So, but it works for me, and this is why I preach it. People work and have a work ethic based upon their personalities.
Yep.
I believe, and people when you fish, they fish based upon their personalities. I got more energy than Carter has liver pills.
Sure.
So I need to move. I got to move. So when I'm on the water, I really love my spinnerbait is my number one bait. I use a half ounce. I use a 3/4 a half ounce, 3/8 ounce. I am just feeling it with that. The rattle trap, the moving baits. Yep. I like to pick off moving fish. If I'm fishing a tournament, I want to get my 5 right out of the gate. Then I may want to slow it down with a Lunker City Spanky or a Senko under a dock or a jig in the area. I only slow down for a particular purpose. When people work, you got the lazy people who don't do a lot. They don't work a lot. That's their personality.
Sure,
they're doopy-doo in life. So you got people who fish and they're doopy-doo and they got the slow, the weenie worm or the finesse worm, and they're in 30 feet of water. And they're just, I can't do that.
You're more of a power fisherman.
I 100% power fish. And people always say, why do you use, when you watch my shows, I use a lot of the same lures. First of all, I'm not pre-fishing the lake. Second of all, I'm out there with a celebrity guest who probably can't fish to save his ass. That's 100% accurate. If I can play quarterback, the guy can play quarterback. Tom Brady comes on my boat and he's got the reel upside down. I'm looking at him going, please tell me that you're kidding right now.
Yeah.
Tell me that's not a Snoopy push button.
Yep.
so I'm looking for fish, and I'm not looking for 8-pound fish. I'm looking for TV fish, which is a 2 to 3 pound TV fish, because I get entertained. It's entertainment, right? So for me, a spinnerbait, a rattle trap, jerk bait, just ripping a bait. I mean, I'm into the real big heavy baits that I'm moving and chucking and winding. And if I got a reason, I come up onto an area, I see an area, I go in my head, I'm like, okay, bam, gonna flip a jig in the egg, pop, 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 put it down, moving down the bank, keep on going. Yep. So my thing is, when I did beat Charlie Moore, I wasn't able to go in the lake and pre-fish. I'm fishing against a guy on Lake Santee Cooper or Lake Fork, Texas, and he's been there his whole life. And then I show up and I come in from Boston and I come on the water and kick your ass.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I didn't lose once. And when I came on the water, I said to my crew, you know what I'm going to do? This guy's going to go to his favorite spots. But here's what I'm going to do. He's going to cast 100 times. I'm going to cast 500 times. I'm going to take my odds, and I'm going to go to that roulette table. I'm going to keep the ball moving.
Yep, it's a numbers game, sure.
It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
So that's the game that I play. But at the end of the day, listen, I don't talk about how I'm the best fisherman in the world. I'm not. I know a lot of great. I'm an entertainer.
Yeah.
I entertain people.
I respect that, dude. That's awesome.
I entertain people. More people tell me they've never picked up a rod and reel in their life, and they watch every episode that I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's one of those train wrecks. You just can't look away. It's like Dana Bonaducci, for Christ's sake.
100%. I love it. And, I am curious about this too. Like, so your boat, I'm curious, is this like a TV boat where like they brought somebody in and set this all up? Or is this something that you've like cherry picked the layout and the electronics and everything else? Let's walk me through your rig.
So my rig is pretty simple. I'm an old school guy. I cannot believe I'm talking about this. Like I've been talking about the last 8 years. I know. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like this. I'm going, oh my God, my father's in my room. It's me.
It's what happens to us all.
I know. I'm very, as much as I'm crazy and nuts and I got a lot of energy, I'm very much traditional, like I said, old school. I'm very much into what works and what's worked. Yep. My boats, I have three freshwater boats. Okay. They're all custom done boats. Mm-hmm. I don't have a lot of electronics. I don't use a lot of electronics because I fish in 10 feet or less.
Yep. Yeah.
I know all these people, these anglers now have these 50-inch screens in front of their boat.
Yep.
I know they have these push poles in the back that my cameraman can't seem to not wrap his gear around or the boom mic around and rip the boom mic out. Mm-hmm. So listen, I did a tournament for Nesson, and I did a tournament for Nesson back in 2000 through 2004. And it was the first tournament in New England. It was $10,000. It was the Nesson Charlie Moore Tournament of Champions.
Oh, okay.
And we gave away 10 grand first place. Winner takes all. Second place is like $1,500.
Yeah.
In third place is $1,000. In fourth place, you went crying home to your mother. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I told the guys, no nets. There's no nets. They were using these sonar things that you like almost like you put it in the water, you can see in the
flogging.
Water.
Yeah.
None of that.
Yeah.
You can't cheat. To me, all of those things are you could find the freaking goddamn Titanic on Lake Winnipesaukee with the technology that's in the front of these bass boats now.
Yep.
You can find the Titanic in 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's true.
To me, it's taken a little bit. To me, I'm the old school guy now saying it's taken a little bit of your talent. I would like to say this. Strip your boat naked, grab your favorite rods and reels, and let your mind find the fish. Let me see how good you are.
Yep.
That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, no shit. It's funny too because there's this big argument. Like you mentioned the technology and stuff. Specifically, right now, the climate. It's all forward-facing sonar, whatever brand name is associated to it, whether it's Panoptics or whatever, Live Scope, like all this stuff. And it's all about I understand where like there's definitely both a plus and a minus to it, but there's a big learning curve with that kind of stuff. And I feel like a lot of the time what happens is you get folks that are willing to spend the money because these are like starting price point to get in is like $3,000. You know what I mean? And like for your average angler that's not out doing tournaments or not making an investment in their career, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But like for these folks that aren't doing that, like this spending the money isn't enough. Like you've got to go and do it. Like I said, I just bought a boat. I have no electronics on there right now. That's going to change because, you know, I obviously want to show features and stuff. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. But over the last couple of weeks, I've been going around at my console. I have an iPad running the Navionics app just so that I don't like ka-chow another prop. And it's that 100%. Structure alone has given me, it really kind of reminded me of like, if you can find ledges and you can find the big flats and you can find these things, that's a huge advantage. And I'll use that word advantage, you know? Let's talk. I'd love to get your opinion.
Bobby, I'm not saying like obviously saltwater versus freshwater. Saltwater
different animal.
Different thing,
yeah.
Right. So freshwater, I mean, I was around when we were using the flasher. Remember the little red flasher, the hummingbird flasher?
Yep.
I mean, you can look at it and think, what the hell am I looking at? I don't even know what this is.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to having technology for depth and structure and all this. I just think we're at the point where we're almost looking at the fish finder is literally sitting over or in front of a school of fish. Yeah. And to me, it's like you're taking the element. It's like steroids and foot in the NFL. I mean, you're taking the element of the competition out of it a little bit. And so to me,
these guys are fishing with screens so big that it's creating shadows and fish are using it as cover. Like that's how big some of these screens are. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? You get that boat in the right position. All you got to do is just drop a drop shot straight down and you're good.
I like to just have all the boats. When they did the Bassmaster Classic, one of the first couple of years, they would fly people to an undisclosed lake. I bet you a lot of the young anglers don't even know that.
Mm-hmm.
They'd fly them to an undisclosed lake. They would land on it. They were all in a private, rented plane, like a Cessna.
Yep.
And they would put them all on the same boats. The same Ranger boats were rigged with the same exact equipment.
Yeah.
And that's an even playing field to me.
Yeah, that's true. When you look at it like that, that's very, very interesting.
But the other thing is I'm so stupid I can't figure out how to read all this technology, so I don't want anyone else to be able to use it against me.
Dude, we're all getting older, and it's just a battle. It really
that's
is.
The truth.
Dude, it's just a battle.
There it is. I said it.
I am curious. Now, so I had this question burning in my mind. Like, you're a sports guy, right? I'm curious what your take is on the idea of professional bass fishing. Like, are you in the camp where you're like, nope, these are, especially from a broadcast element where it's something viable for people to watch? Or do you think that this is just glorified gambling and people are, spending a shit ton of money on just a needle in a haystack chance of being able to actually profit on this? Because there are a lot of differences from professional bass fishing. And I'm using bass fishing specifically because obviously you start talking marlin fishing, different element. Walleye fishing, same thing. But when we're talking like Bassmaster and stuff and that elite level, like the amount of money you've got to spend for that. What's your take on that as a sport?
Well, 100%. It depends on where you're coming from. I personally believe, again, in my personal opinions, is it's a young man's game. You don't have to. You're married and have 3 kids, and you're paying $5,000 mortgage. I mean, it's a tough ball game. Yeah. So I think that that what Bass and what FLW at the time and Everstart series, which I fished all of those, I think that what they struggled with at the time was they're no longer around. I mean, but what Bass is, but what they struggled with was, it's not like golf. They always try to compare it to golf or golf or golf, but the golf is a viewer audience. You have people who are participating, sitting there watching it. Indie racing, football, virtually every tennis. I mean, virtually every sport has people in the seats, people in the audience to make that money. Yeah. It's like these bands that are going out, Motley Crue or Rat or Poison or whatever. They're getting paid, but the people who are making the money on ticket sales, so they're getting the venue. So with Bass and all these, you have the sponsors, but you have the sponsors that are paying for the event, the people who are running the program, and then these anglers are trying to get their sponsors, which are conflicting. So there's like two, so they can get paid to be participating in the event, and you have this push and pull there. So my overall opinion is, when it comes to fishing, I think it kind of peaked. Obviously, Ray Scott was a great inventor, a great visionary man, just an overall great who really started with Forrest Wood, from Ranger Boats. And I think what they did with Johnny Morris and teamed up with Johnny Morris, it's like they were all kind of hitting at the same time, and it kind of exploded, and it very much peaked. But I think the lack of the viewer audience that you have participating at the event, and the amount of money that it takes to just stay in a hotel, drive your boat around. These guys are huffing it. I know stories about people sleeping in their cars, so don't you, and sleeping at the boat ramp. And my friends have put the effort into it. And to be able to say, I need to make $200,000 a year in today's inflation, I just think you might have a better chance going to Mohegan Sun and using hitting the blackjack table. You know what I mean? It's just. But I like to see the sport grow. I think they've tried for the last 20 years to make it really a participating sport that could be a benefit to the anglers and the viewers. And I just don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know.
It's funny because, so recently in the last handful of years, there have been attempts and I'll use the example in the world of specifically kayak fishing, right? Because kayak fishing competitively has a much lower dollar amount of entry in order to be able to get into. You're not dropping $100,000 on a bass boat anymore. Now you're dropping $2,000 or $3,000 on a pretty well-equipped kayak, and then you can work your way into it. And there was this, for a short period of time, there was this sort of a league of tournaments, really, where it was team-based. You had 4 anglers on a team, and the idea was to kind of create this sort of a show. And the problem is you had tournament anglers that were there literally to not give up any spots and, trying to catch the best bag that they could so that they could win the tournament. And at the end, there was this big, grand prize, and by the way, in this series, they were all paying entry fees for the term. It was just run like a regular tournament. But I feel like, in my opinion, I think what's missing now is the level of personality, the entertainment. Because really, I live and breathe fishing. I cannot watch 4 to 8 hours of somebody on a boat. There's just no way. My attention, and folks younger than I am, it's even harder. Their attention span is crazy. But if you were to take that element of tournament fishing and use it like the build-up in advance, the way you would in boxing and professional wrestling, and give these competitors the ability to be characters and make it more be themselves, represent themselves, and kind of play that up, I think you could create something that's really good, because then you're not just watching a highlight reel that's going to run on whichever network of how the tournament was, which really, that's all anybody cares about. How did it end? They want to see the win.
It's two separate things, though. It's two separate things. Talking about the success of what's happened with me is in my shows is I'm all entertainment. I'm appealing to people who don't fish, who like to fish. I'm doing a TV show. So if you're looking at a kayak tournament and you're looking at, I get exactly what you're saying. Then you're looking at Big Brother, or you're looking at 10 competitors stay in a cabin for 2 weeks. And it's a Netflix six-part series. You see what I'm saying?
Of course.
But it's not about the kayak fishing. It's about one guy beating the shit out of the other guy.
That's exactly it.
Having enough of his bullshit and saying you can't fish to save your ass. Or
exactly.
Whatever.
And so you
that's
take
why you'd watch. That's why you'd watch.
Exactly. So you take 8 hours, and then you filter and you edit the best stuff, and you make a product that people actually want to watch. And all of a sudden, guess what?
You've got sponsors.
You know what I mean? And it's just.
That scared me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. That scared me a little bit. I was like, "What's happening? Is he okay?"
Oh man, it's freaking nuts. Let's talk food a little bit, man, because I get into this all the time with folks. I say that one of my favorite things is to do. My practice is when I go and hit the water, I don't eat. In the morning, I don't eat. I wait. Primarily, I don't want to have to shit in the woods if I can avoid it.
Unbelievable, and you know why. That's exactly right.
That's exactly what it is. But I will afterwards. If it was a terrible day, I'm looking to punish my body with whatever, local mom and pop is usually the only sort of, I guess, filter I've got looking for a spot. Is something local, mom and pop, like that. Whether it's breakfast, lunch, whatever. Where's the spot that you're going to go? Whether you're, punishing yourself for a terrible day on the water or you're celebrating a new record, where's that place you're going to go to?
Oh, I'm a big foodie. I mean, I got my own line of spices that are the best. I'm going to send you some.
All right.
I'm going to send you one. You're going to there's no way you're not going to be like, these are gourmet. They're made by the Obey Seasoning and J.O. Spice. These have been around for. So I'm a foodie. I do a lot of cooking at home.
Yep.
I do a lot of marinades. I'm Greek, so I got a lot of lemon pepper. Chicken thighs are amazing.
Sure.
But if I'm going out, I'm definitely gonna. I love sushi. I love fish. So I'm definitely going to like. In New England, there's no better sushi than Karma. Karma is in Burlington and Westford. It's unbelievable, and they got great. Asian cuisine as well, a few, with what they do. The Sea Level Oyster Bar and Grill. I mean, you can't fake good seafood. That's the whole thing.
No,
you can fake a chicken pot pie or a chicken cacciatore because you're marinating everything together and mixing it. So, good steak. I mean, I go to the steakhouses. I mean, my diet's pretty strict. Being on TV, it adds 30 pounds. I'm not lying. 25. People always think when they see me in real life, every single day of my life, I get, oh my God, you're skinnier and taller in real life. I hear it every time I leave my house. Yeah. People think I'm 5'10", like, 220 pounds. I'm 6'2.5", and I'm 180.
Jesus Christ.
And the TV adds like 30 pounds.
Of course it does. I'm on screen and people like I am the exact opposite. I am short and wide. So I'm not made for TV like that. Hence why the podcast platform works so well.
Well, you got a great look, I can tell you that.
Thank you, dude.
But I think that going out, I'm definitely going to hit the Karma Sushi. The Fins is my favorite seafood place. Boston, I mean.
Yep.
I like the steakhouses, Mastro's in Boston is just really, really good. Eddie V's in Burlington, these places like that. I mean, they're just top notch. Yeah. Mom and pop, 100% mom and pop, no questions asked.
Yeah, it's the best.
Best Italian food, Angelina's in Tewksbury, Mass.
You're 100%. Not the first person that I've heard say that before. I haven't been yet. Yeah, you're not the first person that's mentioned Angelina's. I've heard that many times.
In Tewksbury, Mass, the prices are amazing. Yep. It's right across the street from Treehouse Brewery, right across the street. Yeah. And so you can go there, get a beer, then go over there and eat. It's just absolutely great people and great food. But I'm definitely going to send you, Bobby, my spices, and I think you're gonna fall in love with them.
Hell yeah, man. Absolutely. I love to cook. That's one of the things that I love to, because in the last couple of years, one of the big things I've gotten into is sort of this like infatuation with traveling while I fish, which is a big reason why I chose the boat that I did. And when I'm going out there, I'm usually camping. So like I like to get a little extra with the camp cooking. So yeah, this is definitely something where I'll put this all into work, try a few recipes, and I'll let you know. I'll give you some feedback.
Oh yeah, well I'm not worried about it because I'm the mixologist. If it's not lemony, I don't like buying stuff. It says lemon pepper, and then you use it, and the last thing you taste is lemon or pepper.
Yeah,
it's like where'd it go?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, come on, I got Wicked Cajun. Doesn't have to be hot, but it's a flavor. It's a spice, and if you don't buy it and the label looks great and you're like, there's no flavor in this. So mine are really and they're healthy spices for you too as well. So
that's beautiful, man. What this is a recent new addition to a question. You might actually already have this in mind, but I ask most of the guests, like, let's imagine for whatever reason you're like, Bassmaster is giving you like a lifetime achievement award and they're announcing you. What's your walk-on song, like your hype song? What are you going to choose for that? I have a feeling the direction you're going to go, but I don't know.
Probably say, I guess, I'm a big music guy. I get so much music. I mean, I'd probably go Eminem. You only got one shot with him. One shot.
Shit, man.
I would go with M. I'd rock it out with M. My second choice would be "I'm the King of Rock" by Run DMC. Down with the King,
dude. Yes.
Down with the King by Run DMC is one of my favorites. So I mean, I'm going with either one of those.
Interesting postscript. Bobby Roast Beef's first concert, Run DMC in Springfield, Mass.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Fantastic.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
you got an episode coming up. We just filmed with Run DMC. Let's see, 3 weeks ago.
No shit.
He was up for a whole week. Yeah, I've been friends with. Yeah, they played it at my daughter's wedding.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Great.
That's freaking cool.
Great. Really good dudes, man. The show the show is going to be great. We had a lot of fun, and we took them to the aquarium, the New England Aquarium, and they wanted absolutely nothing to do with the animals. Like they didn't want to touch anything. So I'm like, this is the greatest tour ever.
Absolutely, it is.
It's like, do you want to see some exhibits? I mean, come on, guys.
That's freaking wild, man. Yeah. That's pretty cool. I 100% would have figured I expected to hear either Motley Crue or Rat or something like that.
Rat, yeah.
Absolutely, they're all awesome. But I love that Eminem and Run DMC as a runner-up.
You got one shot. You only got one shot.
That's pretty badass, man. I like that, dude. I can definitely get behind that. Now, let's talk as far as like, you know, are there any specific, like I know you said you lean toward a lot of power fishing presentations, spinner baits and things like that. Are there any specific like brands that you're like, yes, this is the one, or like colors that you're like, if I'm leaning away direction, this is how I'm going, like more natural versus vibrant or dark or something like that?
Yeah, so I believe in, I use exclusively, if I'm in 2 feet of water or 22 feet of water, I fish mostly 15 feet or less. I'm using exclusively a 1/2 ounce bait. Number one, because I can drop it, I can burn it, I can slow roll it. Plus, I'm putting it like in between pontoons. I'm skipping the 1/2 ounce spinner bait like it's a sluggo.
Yep.
So I'm putting that thing into like tight spots. You know what I mean? So I need some weight behind it, and I need some that gives me more accuracy.
Sure.
Number one. Number two, as far as the colors, my advice to that. Keep it simple, stupid. You know, you got your light and you got your dark. And if you're telling me that these fish are seeing a bluegill fleck, then you're an absolute complete moron. Turn your friggin' IQ card in now. So it's, I mean, there's light and there's dark and there's different variations of that, and it only plays into effect personally, I believe. You know, when you're dealing with the actual water clarity, a Lake Champlain and Lake Winnipesaukee is different than fishing the Chattanooga River, Tennessee. Yeah, and the river, it's like coffee.
It's like you,
all right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like it's exactly what it's like. So, you know, I do a variation of 3 colors. I do white, I do a silver, and I do a black. Spinner bait. I do double willow leaves, double willow. Hate the Colorado. Like the Colorado's good for single, pushes the water more.
Yep.
I'm burning them a lot. So I like those double willows. I like to get them going. I have my own bait. I'm going to send you some of those. But I also love the nickels. I mean, I was a big fan of the nickels spinner baits. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
They're popular.
Yeah.
Yep.
So nickels to me was always the spinner bait that I grew up using. You know, in worst case scenario, you need to get a kid fishing with a spinnerbait. You toss them. You go to Walmart, you pick up a Strike King, and you're good to go.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I mean, there really is. You know, when you a lot of it comes down to confidence. You know, a huge amount of it. So, like, if there's a certain color of water, and you're thinking that you've got confidence with this specific color or something, do it. You know, whatever it is that you got to do. But I mean, you're right. I think when it comes to that relationship of color, you got light, you got bright, you got dark, and you got kind of natural in between. And it's like, yeah, you can kind of, everybody says the same thing. They're like, oh, I'm looking to get what should I get for the best topwater frog? Well, like, get a light one, get a dark one, and then get something natural. You know?
It's all moving.
Yeah.
Some of these bass are blind. I've caught bass with no eyes.
Yeah.
I've caught bass with one eye. They're going on pure instinct. It's pure instinct. You know, when a bear attacks a human being, they don't know that it's your Aunt Sally that's getting mauled alive. You know what I mean? They're not trying to use your cell phone to make a call.
It's true. It's true.
I mean, it's instinct. It's pure natural animalistic instinct that they're doing. Bass are a predator. They're going after movement. They 9 times out of 10 bite, absorb what it is, and hoof it out. They spit it out.
Yep.
When you hook the set the hook, I'm dyslexic. You set the hook. That's when you hook them. But they're not necessarily eating it because they think it's a friggin' roast beef sandwich coming across the top of the water.
It's true.
They're eating it reaction. So I'm out there trying to find some reaction fish, and I think that the colors are going to play into it. Maybe. I think it comes down to the confidence of the fisherman. Yeah, whatever color you feel is more confident, then you just go with that. You buy 400 colors of black. You buy 400 colors of white, and you go for it. Because the confidence is the best bait in your tackle box.
It's true.
Not the new lure, not as seen on TV, not the Charlie Moore lure. Trash that. It's what you like. Oh, I'm going to go out today. I'm going to throw this, and I'm going to get 10 fish. Because that's the bait that you want. It's 100%.
No, I love it, dude. So I'm curious, and this should be pretty interesting for you because you had the opportunity to fish with so many people. So this is the question. I love the social aspect of fishing. It's like, a buddy of mine recently, we were out fishing and we were just throwing some topwaters at night. And he's like, he goes, we're not getting any bites. He goes, but there are so many worse ways we could spend our time. He's like, some dudes like to go out to the titty bar and some dudes like to go fish. And I'm like, and you know what's funny? Both of them are throwing your money away for a lot of reason. You know what I'm saying? It really is. There was a time I thought this hobby was cheap.
There's a lot of wishful thinking going on in those two places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yes. But so what I'm curious is this, like, if you could give me a top 3 of people you would absolutely love to fish with, they could be living or dead. They could be celebrities. They could be newbies. They could be pros. It doesn't matter. Who are those 3 people you would love to have on your boat?
Well, they're probably going to all be dead. I mean, anybody who's alive, I pretty much have already, and I got them planned or I already had them. But I mean, number one, I'm 100%. I'm definitely picking Frank Sinatra. I mean, I definitely want to go out with Frank Sinatra, and
I could see that.
A couple bottles of Jack Daniels, and we'll just maybe write some tunes and maybe catch a couple crappie or something.
Just wear your PFD, Charlie. Just wear your PFD, dude. If you're putting down 2/5 of Jack with the old blue eyes, just wear your PFD. You're gonna need it.
I mean, there's so many people, right? Obviously, so many people.
Yeah.
I tend to lean towards the entertainers, because I feel like that's my forte in life. I think Elvis Presley would be up there, maybe hanging out with the King and Frank Sinatra. And if I had to pick one person alive who I've met, but I have not connected with, I would love to fish with Stallone.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And my 4th would have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, smoking some cigars. Hanging out with Arnold. Maybe we'll drive around. We'll take our Hummers out for a little test drive.
There you go. Yeah.
It seems like a real. He is a real down to earth guy. He's a man's man. Same with Sly. That would be. But I think that those 4 would be. There's a lot. There's so many, right? But it's a good question. It's hard to answer. But that's a good pull right there. I think.
What about a past guest that you've had that you're like, nope, I've got unfinished business with this guest? Like somebody that you're like, I want to have him on the boat again for one reason or another. It could be anything.
Bob Marley, the comedian.
Oh, dude, that guy is funny as shit.
Bob and I had the greatest show. I mean, we laughed so hard. We had. Bob. I mean, Bob is. You could do a 2-hour special with Bob and not have enough.
Yeah.
There's so many people. I've done some retreads, over the years. You kind of go back. I mean, I've filmed with DMC a while ago on ESPN in 2004 or 5, but. You relive some things. Probably, I'm definitely doing a new show probably this spring with Sully, from Godsmack. Him and I are connecting again and teaming up. We did some stuff in the past, and we've done some good things. But but the thing about it is, I hate to say this, but even just regular people that I'm traveling with and meeting up, combined with the guest list that we compiled, we're usually 6 to 8 months out when it comes to filming. I'm honestly just trying to get through some of these guests, and especially since the coronavirus, it's been like 2 or 3, 4 years in the making.
Yeah.
So we're still trying to get caught up on some of these trips and some of these guests and some of these people that we've been kind of backlogged, for 2 years anyway because of that. So, but. Look, there's never an endless amount of places to go. And I don't just do all celebrities, too. We do a lot of regular people, and we do locations. I mean, I try to have a Charlie Moore show alone. Charlie goes on vacation with his family or his wife, and you take in an area. Or Charlie has a celebrity, or Charlie fishes with a local guy when he's out in those places. So, it's the bipolar entertainment, I call it. People, there's so many different people have so many different levels of interest we try to keep it very open and very entertaining for everyone who has multiple different feelings towards entertainment.
That's awesome, man. Now, I am curious, like, you do a lot of traveling. You've been around a lot. Are there any, like, bucket list bodies of water that you haven't fished yet that you want to get to? And are there any that you're like, have been so good you can't wait to get back?
Yeah, well, Clear Lake in California was one that I want to get back on.
I want to get out there so bad, dude.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in California and fished Clear Lake, I mean, just the fact of the good food that was around there and the wine and the food and then the resort life that was there. We had this beautiful like townhouse. It was like it was huge condo right on the lake. Boat was right there. And the time that I was there, and I was there filming for 2 days or 3 days, I gotta tell you, man, the top water frog, the rat was on. The rat and roll was on. And they were just
the rat.
4, 5, 6 pounders just crushing that rat. I was like, I may never leave. I mean,
if you like throwing big baits, that's the place to do it because there's giants in there, and they respond. Yeah,
that's probably the one that really sticks out to me. And I've pretty much fished them. I fished so many lakes across the country. Sam Rayburn, Lake Fork. I mean, I look at Champlain is probably the top 3 lake in the entire country. Champlain is one of the best fisheries, if not the actual best. But I put Clear Lake and Champlain into that category of holy crap. That's just a hell of a, you leave there going, I can't wait to come back. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I could definitely see both locations. I have fished Champlain in the past. I can't wait to go back. That fishery, in fact, actually, it's funny, like mentioning Champlain. So one of the things Jigs and Bigs does is we get into because I sort of as like a selfish way to look at this is I like to engage with the listeners of the show by fishing with them. And it's impossible for me to be everywhere. So we do a handful of different types of tournaments. We do a monthly online tournament. That's a multi-species scavenger hunt, which is an absolute blast. And the other, we do a couple a year where we'll do like a bass slot limit tournament, and it's nationwide. And we use an app on your phone, use Fishing Chaos. You have to have an approved measuring device. It's a whole lot of fun. And we had it was her, I think only second month. She's from Jersey. Janelle Orsino. She had gone, every spring she spends a week with her family up on Champlain. And this is just a fishy family. Like they're on the water nonstop. And she goes out and she came in like 3rd place. It was only her second. She won a decent amount of money, And I mean, part of it had to do, she caught a 29-inch bowfin in Champlain.
Jesus.
Yeah,
they got some bowfin up there, man. They got some big bowfins.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I'm right on the Connecticut River. We got some bigs in here too, but it's like up that way.
Got the big smallies on the Connecticut River too.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do, man. It's all right.
Hinsdale, Hinsdale, and the thin water up there is so fun.
Now, you ever fish in Western Mass? I'll say anything like I would call Western Mass anything that's west of Worcester. You ever fish any bodies of water out here that you're like, I like that spot?
I fish the Berkshires a lot.
Dude, yes, that's my jam. I love Berkshire County.
Yep, I fish the Berkshires a lot. It's up and coming with the food and the culture as well. Yeah. I know one time we stayed at the Red Lion Inn. Is that what it is? The Red Lion Inn.
I think it's in Sheffield or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yep. We had a house there, and we fished the river for trout, and then we fished a couple of ponds that were, oh my God, to be honest with you, some of those places that I fished out there seemed like they didn't have a lure thrown at it. And since Abe Lincoln was running for president, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I was like, this is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
and it's funny, some of those spots are pretty heavily pressured. Like a lot of folks are fully aware of it, but they just fish so well.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, well, most of what we have around where we are here, they get pounded a lot. Like where I go a lot, they get pounded. And but you just got to adapt, and some days you're the bug, and some days you're the windshield. You know what I mean?
No, it's 100% true. Yeah.
But you go further north in Maine, 4, 5, 6 hours up, it's like God's country, man. It's just unbelievable. I could fish Maine for the next 100 years on TV and do 20 episodes a year and never even touch every single lake. I mean, there's so many lakes, you know?
It's wild how wild Maine is. It really, really is. I did one trip last May, May of 23. I went up with a buddy of mine, and we fished up at Moosehead Lake. And I'm just like, I'll try. I'm really into like the overlanding content and stuff. And I was like, that seems doable. Like I should check that out. Found a spot. We camped for like 3 days. Had to do like 6 miles of like logging roads. We're hauling kayaks on trailers. And it was just sketchy. And it was absolutely amazing. But it's crazy up there because it was.
What'd you catch?
So I caught Lakers and Smallies. None of them on Moosehead.
Smallies.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
None of them on Moosehead. We found a spot that was a little bit smaller, more sheltered from the wind, because at the time, this was Cinco de Mayo weekend is when we were up there. So we're thinking May, it's going to be great. Nope, that water temp was under 40.
Wow.
It was ridiculous. Like 3 weeks before we went out there, they had ice. And I'm like, this is sketchy. So when the wind kicked up, and my buddy, he's taken a dip in some freezing water before and out of his kayak, and he's like, I'm not looking to do that again. Let's go somewhere where it's a little bit more sheltered. He made the right call. We hit this smaller pond, and I caught some nice Lakers, like all on the same presentation. An inline spinner, 1/2 ounce with a copper blade seemed to be the thing that was just getting it done. That copper blade.
Number one lure to use in the spring, as far as I'm concerned, is what you just said right there.
Yeah.
That's the number. You want to catch the whole lake, you throw that bait right there.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great bait.
It's a fantastic bait. Moving bait, so it's active, keeps something going on. I threw everything at him. That was the only thing that seemed to really get it done. Smallmouth were all super tiny, but the Laker I caught was pretty decent size.
There's some big bass in Moosehead, although the fishing game wants you to think there's not.
They don't want them there. I couldn't believe
they're full of shit.
They just had a tournament, Charlie. Was it June? It was a catch and kill smallmouth tournament. Like there's a kill order in Maine for smallmouth.
Really?
Yeah. Like they don't want you to release them.
It can't be Maine.
I don't think it's the entire state, but in these specific spots, like they really, and it's like the state put them in there. From what I understand.
I don't know if the state did. My feeling is they probably didn't. I think that naturally you can't keep the birds will relocate fish on their own, right? So all the birds are going to take fish and drop them from lake to lake and move them, or one gets loose or whatever, right? It's just the natural but I think that they think that they're trout fishing up there is like their bread and butter. It's no different than Umbagog. They want the trout fishermen to have all that, and they think the bass eat the trout. They eat the trout. The babies, the hatch, and they don't want that to happen. So I don't know.
And they'll all eat fry of other stuff and their own. I mean, it's like it all kind of balances out a little bit. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know exactly what happened, but there's conversation that in this one body of water, there's a brook that connects the two. You get a good flood, that population's going to intermix. Like that's all it takes.
My pay grade. I just go out and fish. I don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's all I'm doing. This was a blast, Charlie. I got one more question, but it's a two-parter for you. And I'm looking for two stories. Like I said early on, Jigs and Bigs.
Two questions? Should I get my one bottle of wine ready? The doctor said have one bottle a day. I'm like, okay, here you go.
That's the one. Perfect. My favorite is that wine glass. It has a hollow stem. It holds a whole bottle. That's the best. Yeah. That's the best. Doc says I can have one glass.
I know.
So I'm looking for that story. Let's say you go to an event or something, and someone comes up to you and is like, "Oh my God, Charlie! Like, I love fishing. I love your show. Like, what's the first story that you're going to share with them? It might be something you were like super proud of on the water. It might be, whatever the situation. It might be a personal best. What's that first story you're going to lead with? And then the next story I want is the biggest epic fail.
Well, the story I tell people is based upon usually the stories that they're telling me, right? So usually everyone's meeting me and I'm not going to try to get all sentimental here, but I'm going to be honest with you. My proudest moments are being able to make a positive influence on people's lives. Yeah. I want to make people laugh, and I know a lot of people with social media, they say a lot of crap, and they say, people are jealous and they say stupid shit. When I talk to people in person, I meet just nothing but love and respect, and they tell you stories about like how their father was dying, and they would watch the shows together as kids, or they would watch, these are all. I'm in the hospital and I'm sick, and I'm watching you on TV for 6 weeks to get through it. I've had people come up to you, they have tattoos of like my Mad Fish tattoo on their arm, and the logo on their arm. I mean, I've had such a positive impact. And I think the most important thing that I want everybody to know is how much it truly affects me. What I do and what I go through, I know it sounds like it's easy. I have a very stressful you don't stay on TV for 28 years and have all of these accolades and think it's just wake up and you do it and rinse, cycle, repeat. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I told everybody the more and more you become successful, the more and more responsibility, the more and more pressure. The pressure has been very intense. I have 3 kids. I have 5 grandkids. We have 12 shows in production. I mean, I work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I work 12 months out of the year.
Yep.
I mean, I'm writing the Christmas holiday episode now. It's July. So I just think that I want everyone to know that when you tell me like what I've done and what I've meant maybe to you, you have no how much it makes me feel.
Yeah.
That to me is my reward. To me is more important than any Emmy Award. It's more important than any accolade that I've received over the years. The most important thing to me is people come up to me and they go, "Man, you make me laugh. Oh my God." And I sometimes I actually get a little teary-eyed when I leave. I walk away because, that's
it has
really
that impact.
reward.
Yeah.
It keeps me going. It really keeps me going because sometimes I feel like, it's 28 years. It's, there's a lot of pressure and, it's tough to keep it going. But the failures, it's funny because when I coached football for high school, we didn't lose. We lost once, championships, 3-8. And we lost one game right from our ass cheeks from the refs, and we lost 6-0. And I got to tell you, every time I see my kids, my teams, and assistant coaches, and I see refs, all I talk about is the 6-0 loss. I don't talk about the wins. I talk about the loss. So when it comes to the biggest failures, I mean, I don't really have any big failures. I mean, I think my big failure would be when I did my sitcom and I went out to LA. Mike O'Malley brought me out there and I met with the biggest names in Hollywood. And, I think my biggest failure was that I knew that it was going to be an ABC show, Touchstone Pictures. And my biggest failure is I let CAA and Creative Artists Agency and the biggest agent in Hollywood talked me out of it and went with CBS and Paramount. And I looked at him and I go, "I think you're making a mistake." And he said to me, "Trust me." And I trusted him. And, and Touchstone came to my face and said, when CBS tells you no, because they want to buy the rights to your entire life, ABC was willing to work with me. The Touchstone president said, I'm gonna I'm gonna buy your life from you, and I'm going to have Tim Allen post it just because you said no to me. I said, and that's what happened. So, but I don't look at that as a failure. It opened up a lot of doors. Yeah. The most thing I'm proud of in my life is my family. Sure. I got a great wife. I got a great bunch of kids. I raised the kids. My kids are not douchebags. I have a lot of kids, a lot of people successful. The kids are douchebags, my kids are very behaved. They're very fine young human beings, and they're very respectful. Yep. I think the kids today have no respect. A lot of kids are being brought up by a bunch of idiots, and I think there's not a lot of love and respect anymore, like when we grew up as kids and when I grew up as a kid. That kind of thing. But that's what I'm most proud of. I mean, when I die, I just want people to say, "Jesus Christ, man, that guy made me laugh my balls off." That's really what I want people to give me. That's all.
Yeah. Fair enough, dude. That is awesome. Charlie,
I'm not even sure I answered the question.
Yeah. No. I love it, dude. Charlie, this is
the question again. Oh my God, what was the question?
This is really, really fantastic, dude. I appreciate you being part of the show. When my phone, I'll be waiting by the phone when you call so that you can get Bobby Roast Beef on the boat and we can share some stories and fish and all of that stuff.
I think we should try to make that happen, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It'd be easy to make happen. I'm a flexible guy. Do us a favor. If are you working with any companies that you have any brand association you want to mention, any shout outs or thank yous or anything? This is the opportunity. And also let the folks know, as if they don't already know where to tune in and find you, where they can find your stuff.
Yeah, so I appreciate, most importantly, I just want to thank all the people who supported me 28 years of TV. I really do mean that. I really do want to thank them because without them, then none of this would be even happening. I think that obviously I'm on Nessun Plus, Nessun National. I'm syndicated around the world on Charlie Moore, No Offense, to affiliate networks around the world. My app is on Apple and Google and Apple, and I'm on Roku TV with Charlie Moore, No Offense. That's my national show. And at the end of the day, you can download the app, watch the shows anywhere. And again, I just want to thank you for having me on, Bobby, and I want to thank all the fans out there, all the people who've supported me, and my mental incapacity of my brain for 28 years, because I'm not normal. Like, there's no way I'm normal. So, so if you're watching me, that means you are absolutely not normal either.
Yeah. We like to, us abnormal folks like to stick together. You know what I mean? And let's be honest, in Massachusetts, there's plenty of us. You know what I'm saying?
I do. So
freaking awesome.
I think all of that. I look forward to the next. I hope I got 20 more years. I look forward to the next chapters of my life. I mean, I'm pumping out some of the best product I've ever made. The Bruin shows are keeping me busy. That's another little thing. That's been a tough goal, because there's a lot. That's 12 months out of the year. But I'm looking forward to some new shows, and we got some good shows coming out. And like I said, I do appreciate the love and support of having all the viewers watch me for 28 years.
Absolutely.
Couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true, dude. This was absolutely great. One last thing. I do need you, if you could, just DM me a picture of you holding a giant. And what we'll do is we'll use that for the artwork of this episode when it drops. This is going to drop next Tuesday. I'll send you a link. I'm probably going to put together some content as well, and I'll pop you on as a collaborator for it. So this way it'll pop right on your stuff, and folks will be able to check out the show and everything else. I'll even put a timestamp of where this is if they don't want to listen to the entire show, however long this turns out. Although I will say this week, we got a good one. We got a good show. So yeah, this is going to be really great. I appreciate you, Charlie. Thanks so much for doing this, dude.
You, brother.
Awesome.
All right, man. I'll reach out to you. I'll send you a couple pictures. But you got my cell. Just text me anytime. You don't need to worry about that. Text me whatever the fuck you need.
You got it, dude. I appreciate you, man.
Ask me any questions. Need anything? I'm gonna ask you for your address. I'm gonna send you some lures and some. I want you to use the spices.
Oh hell yeah! That's my favorite thing to do. When people send anything food related, I'm like, oh yeah, let's give this.
Do you drink at all? Do you drink? Or
I work in bars 5 nights a week. Of course I drink, man.
Well, you look up. I'll send you my bourbon. I own a bourbon company called Mr. I own a gin company called Mr. Pickles Gin. It's #1 gin in the country.
No shit.
And I own Punch's Chance bourbon. We have 3 blends. It's a bourbon that is. We sponsor the UFC and we sponsor all that stuff. It's called Punch's Chance. That's the bourbon right there. That's my bourbon.
That's freaking awesome, man. And you hit the nail on the head.
That's the gin. See, the gin is awesome. It's a real dog.
I've seen that before. I've seen that out before.
That's my gin.
No shit. So, my wife is a gin drinker. I'm the whiskey drinker. So this is perfect. We'll make this happen.
I'm whatever's fucking free drinker.
I hear that, dude. Absolutely, I hear that. Awesome,
Very
bud.
nice meeting you, brother. You're awesome, dude. I appreciate the love.
All right, I appreciate you, bud. You have yourself a good one, all right?
Weekend, baby.
Take care, bud. See ya.
Bye.
Oh, man, what a fantastic show. And I say that for a couple of reasons. Like, obviously, like any show where there's like new boat vibes, that's awesome. You know what I mean? We had a great news segment. We had some good follow-up information from a previous news segment. We had Charlie Moore on the show, which, and I got to be honest with you guys, there's any of my like trivia regulars find out that I do a fishing podcast. One of the first things that they ask me is like,
hey, so Bobby, have you had Charlie Moore on your show?
And I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, but really, especially if you're in New England, you know what I mean? But I mean, and even beyond so, like, that's like the name that you think of,
Yeah.
Unless
yeah,
you're like
yeah,
an old school guy like me and you're just like, oh, yeah, Al Gag, gone fishing with Al Gag, you know?
Sure.
That's
sure,
hyper local, you know what I'm saying? But Charlie Moore kind of resonates with a lot of folks. So, like, when a lot of people talk like fishing, that's the name that they come up with. They're like, oh, yeah, like Charlie Moore. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of crazy. So, this is going to be one of those shows where I'm going to take the cover artwork and I'm going to actually make it a part of trivia, I think, all week this week.
Oh, perfect.
And
That's
I'll just
awesome.
put it in there in that way because I'm like, yeah, this is somebody that you guys all know. Who's this guy?
Yeah.
You know, and it'll be pretty interesting. We'll have one of the good ones. But yeah, pretty badass, man. Pretty badass. Michael Bradley made a comment to the situation with getting passersby to leave you alone. He says, what do you do if they sign back? I guess I deserve a pat on the back for actually having like a coherent sign go out because I have no idea. There's a couple of American Sign Language things that I know. One of them being coffee.
Yeah.
Like that one I know. My oldest daughter is really good with American Sign Language, and I keep telling her she should run with that career-wise. She took it in high school for 2 years, I think, and really, really got into it, did like a lot of like, other projects at school with the class, and I was like, you should do something with that. Wolf of Walmart right there. Yeah, he goes, middle finger. You know what?
Oh, yeah.
You know
when
what?
they start pumping out gang signs.
Yeah. You're like, yeah.
Next thing you know, Bobby's a Crip.
Oh, good Lord. No, this is pretty badass. Jay Manning says, in regards to Charlie Moore, he goes, he was one of the original bad boys of New England fishing. Like him or not, respect. Fair enough, buddy. Fair enough. And I think that we all liked Charlie a little bit more after that interview because it was pretty solid.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good, man. He did mention that he was going to be sending over a bunch of different stuff, Joe, and I'm going to share the wealth. So this will be interesting. Some seasonings. I know he said some baits. I don't know if he's going to send over. You know, he's got a booze company. He's got a gin. I think it's called Mr. Pickles is the gin. That's his gin, and then he's got
interesting.
I think 3 different bourbons.
Ooh,
sign a bitch up.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm not a big gin guy, but I'm a bourbon guy.
My wife is big on the gin. She likes the gin, so yeah. Wolf Walmart says, Crip Bobby, he'd fit in out here. Hell yeah. You know, that was one of the things that we talked about in that interview too, Dave, is Clear Lake. When I asked him about bucket list spots that he wants to fish, Clear Lake, he wants to go back. And I was just like, yeah, I'm on with that now. I'm definitely in with that. An amazing show, everybody. Thank you so much for being part of it. Big shout out and thanks to Charlie. We appreciate him. And of course, more than anything, we appreciate all of you guys that listen to this show because that's what really makes this stuff kind of go down. We have actually this week, now that I think about it, shit, it's going to be cutting it close. This week, registration is going to be opening for the August tournament, scavenger hunt tournament. I just want to mention, too, it was a little bit delayed because of the holiday. The leaderboard is now fixed on Fishing Chaos, and it's showing. And your boy, Bobby Roast Beef, last I checked, was sitting in, it was close at second place. So, I'm hoping tomorrow I'm going to be able to fix some stuff and check a couple more boxes, but who knows? We'll find out. But Joe, you got anything we want to wrap up with before we take off?
No, man, that's it. Good show. Can't wait to do it again.
It was a goddamn good show. I'm stoked. So yeah, we got to get together and do some boat shit together. And I think maybe we make some promo videos for our respective YouTube channels and stuff. And
fuck yeah,
we'll do some of that shit. I love it. Sweet.
Let's do it.
Well, you guys have yourselves a fantastic week. As always, make sure to be tagging us in any fishy posts that you're putting out on social media, whether it's be a meme or a couple of really great catches that you had over the weekend or whatever it is. Whatever you have going on, tag us in that because we want to show you guys a little bit of love with the likes, the saves, the comments, all that stuff, the shares. We're all about it. We're all about trying to help and grow this community and grow the sport and all that happy horse shit. We're here for it. For Who the Fuck is Joe Brown and myself, have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful week. We'll see you guys in 7 days for more Jigs and Bigs goodness. And don't forget, like we always say,
Ditson ass, smoke some grass.